All right, I think we are good to go. It is time for a tasty Tuesday, a little different. Mont Muser Eric's not going to be able to make it this week at a prior engagement, but we're going to get together and still have a good talk. And we'll be joined by lots of different guests off and on. And we'll be discussing it in the chat. So feel free to chime in anytime you want. We're going to be tonight's going to be the main focus is going to be sherried whiskey, and sherried whiskey is comes in different types as well. You've got your sweet cherry, which is your PX, that's Pedro Jimenez. You've got your more dried dark fruit Oloroso sherry. You've got your even more dry Fino sherry, which is a third, and you got others too. You've got Amontillado, which is like a almondish type of sherry. Mezzanilla, I believe, is another one. Or is that wine cast? Sometimes I get the wine cast mixed up, but there's so many different types of sherry. It's crazy. Good to see you there, Whiskey Lover Society. Greetings from Belgium, man. Good to see you. Getting a little late on knowing your side. I appreciate you still staying up and having a dram. What are some of your favorite sherried whiskeys? Good to see you as well there, Chris. Tell me some of your all's favorite sherries. And one thing I wanted to get into tonight, as well as I'll be talking about a couple that you see here, is I was kind of scanning and I found this article by the Scotsman Food and Drink, and they had this is from 2019, so it's fairly recent, within a couple of years, and they were talking about the 10 best sherry whiskeys to try for beginners, and I thought that was kind of interesting, and I thought I'd kind of comment with you guys about their list and maybe the pros and cons of it. Uh, Peter White's in the house. Good to see you, man. Paulo Cartado. I can't even say it. Paulo Cartado. Yeah, I've been lucky enough to have that like once, maybe twice. It's you see it more common recently. I didn't used to see it 6 or 7 years ago as often. Now I see it a little more often. Is that something that I'm sure the wine's been around for ages? Is that just something that folks have found out that does well with whiskey when they're doing maturations or whatever? Do they? Is that something that's been around for a long time, Peter, with whiskey, or is that something that actually really is, something recent? I'm just curious. Good to see Mr. Gerpic. I am error. Paulo is unclear. Uh, yeah, Paulo Catardo is the one we were talking about. That's but I haven't had it one where I was lucky enough to grab that at a expo once, and I really sought that one out because I've heard about it, never got a chance to try it until then, and it was good, just really different. At the moment, I really love the Edgedower 10. Yeah, the Edgedower 10 and the Balakin, their peated series is really good, I'd say. Let's talk about that. Now, the first one on their list for people that are into sherry to try, the first one they talk about is Glendronic 12, and I could see the reasoning for that. It's been a solid dram. There have been recent, I don't know if I say issues, but controversy with them. Taking off the no chill filtration deal on their whiskey, but it's still, I'd say it's still definitely sought after. Not sure how much people can tell a difference with the old craft, but I'm gonna go ahead and pour a couple of these while we're chatting. Get them to air out a little bit. It's always good. Just a just a smidgen. The sorry about that. The Glenjoni 12 is one that the price has been jumping up recently. That's one I kind of be like iffy about right off the get. They also got the Akatoshan 3 wood, and it's a it's my favorite even out of the 21 year and some of the other versions they've got. The 3 wood is actually one of the best whiskeys they offer in my opinion, but triple distillation, it's very mild. If you're into a lot of flavor, it could be iffy on that one. Same with the Balvenie Doublewood 12. I love the 17. I just did not get into the 12 from Balvenie as much. Being a sherried whiskey, I didn't even really notice the sherry notes isn't as much. Between the Oakentoshan 3 Wood and the Balvenie 12, I would swap those out with, someone mentioned, an Edgedour 10, big time, huge, uh, much better quality. If for, I'd say for a sherry dram, if you're going for it, even with price, it's not that crazy, that I remember. You usually, you might have to go 80-ish on some of them, but they're well worth it, in comparison. You're spending almost the same kind of money, and you're getting much, better product, I think. The Abelard Abanat is in this list, and we'll get to that. That's one we'll be doing tonight. It's a cast strength whiskey. It's Oloroso sherry. It's, Spanish, sherry butts, large, quantity in the cask, and, pretty intense, if for first time sherry users. It's funny when you go against something like this. This is the new Carriages from Laphroaig. It's this year's, 2021. It's also cast strength and peated, which is a huge difference when you're talking just sherry, by itself, and then sherry with the peat. I love the combo. Some people don't. Some people love it. We'll be looking at that as well. That's one I would maybe keep in the list. I do, out of all of Abelard's products, and I've had the 18, the 16, the 12. I still would much rather have a bottle of the Abanad than the 18 any day of the week. And I think lots of people probably agree with me on that. And most of the time is actually the Abanad is actually cheaper, even though it's a much higher ABV. And that's, I think, part of the lure, of the taste is that the intensity, um, it's just a much better crafted dram to me than the, 18, but we'll get to that later. Dalmore 15 they have in the list. I would definitely swap that out with the Bunnahabhain 12. You can get it a lot cheaper. It's a much very better cherry dram. The Tandu batch drinks on their list, I do agree with that one. That's a great dram, no matter which batch it is. I've had several, at least the first three, if not four, and they were all solid. They had the Dahlia Wayne 16 Flora and Fauna on their list. I agree with that one. That's an actually good, overlooked bottle. Dahlia Wayne is, owned by Diageo, but they only use it in blends usually. They don't do a lot of focus at all on their, distillery bottle, but their distillery bottle is outstanding, and you can get it pretty cheap. 60 bucks, $65 for a 16-year-old whiskey that's sherried. It does have its issues. It's colored and chill filtered most likely, but with that said, for a sherry dram, I do like the flavor. I do like the taste. They had the Glenfarclas 105 in here. I've had lots and lots of Glenfarclases from the 10, 12, 15, 17, 21, 25 even. We'll be talking about that later. The 105, I don't know if I've ever got the chance to try that one. It appears to be tempting, that I think it would work out. What do you guys think of the 105? And I'll come back and catch up with comments. The Ardbeg Ugadal's on our list. I agree with that one wholeheartedly. Perfect. They also have the Bowmore Darkest 15 on this list, though. I think I would take that off. And if you're going for another peated sherry dram, I would go with the Lagavulin Distillers Edition, in place of that. Price is a little bit more by maybe $10 to $15, but it's well worth it. The quality is a lot different. ABV is better. There's about the same age statement, 16 years, but it's got PX sherry involved, and it's peated. And to me, it's a much better, taste overall than the, Bowmore Darkest. But it is subjective. But I just feel that the craft is just better too. And that I just want to kind of introduce, you guys to the list that I was looking at before we got into the weeds on some of this, and say hi to you guys on the side. We're recently looking at a Deanston 1997. Glenlicky 12 is an excellent inexpensive one. Yeah, I agree with that. Glenlicky, I think, is going to be the new Glendronic across the board, because of the craft and quality, and the money is going to be another big difference. I think I paid 57 Canadian for the Glenlicky 12. Wow, that's still, I think, pretty good, from what I've heard. For the 18 Glendronic, I've got the 2017 and 2019. The Glenjoni 18 Allardyce is really good. That's the one that's all Oloroso, if I remember correctly. And, if you like Oloroso sherry, I do. I like all. I've never had a sherry I didn't like, to be honest with you. I do like more than others. I think my least favorite is I think Manzanilla qualifies as sherry, if I'm not mistaken. That's the one that's really ultra. It makes like Marsala wine look mild. It's very, very almost over the top, kind of got a twangy, like the Tobermory 21 has that Manzanilla cask, and it's really intense if you're not really into that flavor. That's probably like my, I'd say, least favorite, but I like them all. You can tell it's all from my old London town. Awesome, man. I'll get a dirty sherry cask, a Glenelg to join the fun. Awesome choice, man. Oh man, Grigelicky, I have not, other than their 23 exceptional. That's the one I've got. That's I believe Sherried, and that's really, really, really one of my favorite whiskeys of the last year. It stood out as being a really good. I do remember it being like really ultra dry. I think it's Oloroso, if I'm not mistaken. It's the 23 exceptional cast series. Grigelicky cast strength, really, really good. I only have the Carriages out of your lineup. Would be fun to drink along. But I'm doing a dry week. That's understandable, man, and no problem with that. I'll keep it around for maybe a little bit, but it's really good, man. It's really good if you haven't ever opened it. The Buna 12 is a big sherry bomb. It's well, yeah. I mean, I guess it depends on the bomb level. It's not cast strength, but it is a great sherry flavor. I definitely will say that. Even Gert, you're a play. Good to see you, Cohen, and the Malt Mongrels. You guys are funny. Just give it the new carriages in the Laphroaig 10 batch 13 cast strength. Ooh, nice. Very, very good. Hey, Steven, good to see you, man. I'm sorry I'm catching up. 12 is definitely a huge sherry bomb. That's, and the Caledonia is so damn good. Oh, those definitely, I would kick the shit out of anything on their list. They definitely need to replace Akantoshan, Dalmore, and even the Balvenie to me is just not there. And the Bowmore, I would definitely replace all those. The Kilhomason egg, awesome choice. If you do like, it's very dry, savory. That one is a very savory. That one is much better with the recent releases. I have heard big stories on that. I like the old release too, but I've heard that the new ones are really, really dark and juicy and good. I prefer the Loch Gorm for Sherry Kilhoman, though, for me, but that is subjective. But I do like the Sineg a lot too, man. I just got two last week. Really, both. Oh, okay. Hey, good to see you, Icy. Helen Park cast strength 12. Ooh, that's a Canel. Yeah, I'd like to see about that. Sineg. Yeah, the Lot Gorm I think is excellent, man. The Dutch makes an interesting PX cast strength whiskey called Millstone at 46. I gotta look into that, man, because I'm not a. I definitely look sometimes outside of Scotch. Not often, but sometimes I do. Let me catch up. Yeah, Lochworm is up there. Oh, PX release. I gotta get my hands on that. I do not have that one. That's one of the rare things I have not picked up yet, but they do still do have it. Thank God, and I'm gonna try to pick that up soon. Balcony prices in Ontario are criminal. I'm sure they are, man. The 15, yeah, instead of their, I'm not sure why they put the double 12. Maybe for price, because it's for a beginner. But even for a beginner, I would much rather introduce someone to the Balvenie 15, a dark version of the single barrel, versus the double wood 12 for sherry. I just don't see it. I'm sure they've got experts that know more than I do, but it's just, I mean, would you rather have, if you're going to introduce someone to sherry, would you rather have the double wood 12 from Balvenie or the 15 single barrel, even for a beginner? Come on, pouring a Bobbler, ooh, 2006 13 first fill sherry pot, oh, with 56.2. That's not a regular '06 bottle. That's a special. Is that one of those special cask releases from Ball Blair that Donner that I've heard that they do those one every once in a while. I've not seen the PX, but I haven't tried. Yeah, I have seen that, and as well as another one. They got a Fino. I don't think I've got the Fino sherry maturation yet. I got to pick up a couple. I'm kind of getting behind on the Oklahoma. It's really sad. The HP Dark Origins is a nice sherry. That's one, and this kind of brings up another one that I know is extremely divisive with you guys. Is the batch variation. Now, I've had good Dark Origins and I've had not so good, but I'm wondering if the oxidation has a big part of it. But I'm kind of thinking it might be batch variation because typically, anytime I've had the Glenfarclas 25, the first like couple, like the first bottle or a couple times I've had it, it was good. And then the second or third time I had it, it was not so good. It was very sulfuric and it felt tired. And I recently picked up a bottle, and it was there's no sulfur, there's no tiredness. The casks were pretty prevalent. I mean, I was surprised. I'm wondering like if it's the same kind of thing with the Dark Origins. I mean, for a 25-year-old whiskey, you don't really have a lot of excuses because it's been sitting there for ages. But the Dark Origins is probably, I'm assuming, 15-ish. It's probably got some 15 and some younger stuff mixed, but blended. But it's a tough one, man. I've had like good experiences with the Dark Origins and bad, but I'm not gonna down it just because of that. You know what I mean? Devil's Cask 3, excellent peated sherry Scotch. Plus, they were cheap in Canada. Yeah, I've heard that's one of those rare distillery bottles that's actually worth a look. I've never seen it, and the prices that they want for some of these, man, is just crazy. Secondary market for that. Ooh, yes. Hazelburn 13 and 14 Oloroso. I've had the 14 myself. Oloroso. Holy wow. It's a good bottle. That is an excellent, not peated, but still a sherried scotch that's Springbank S because it's the sister distillery, Hazelburn, the sister company. I'm not sure if it's a separate distillery or how what they say about that. But yeah, Springburn, Longburn, Hazelburn, all Springbank, Hazelburn, Longrow. Sorry, that's all the all connected together. There was batch variations with the Dark Origins. Yeah, I'm thinking I get the same thing with the Glenfarclas 25, man. Because I was kind of hesitant about picking it up because I had a couple rough, goes with it. But since I had the initial one was so memorably being good, I thought, well, hell, I'll try it one more last time just to see. And unless it's an oxidation issue, which I will test if the bottle's around long enough, because it is easy to drink. 'Cause it's such a low ABV at 43, I think it is. Yeah, 43%. That's that's the problem with that too. But trying to get a Bunnahabhain 12 cast strength, but it's sold out everywhere, man. I haven't even looked yet, and I could imagine your um, feeling because I would be really depressed if I couldn't find that, man. I'd love to try a cast strength version of the Bunnahabhain 12. Sherry cast is a sherry monster. Yeah, imagine that's a beast in itself too. Hey, Andy Indigo, good to see you, man. Ingot, sorry, Andy Ingot. I can't even say it. Have you tried any of the UK sites? The House Mon- Yeah, sometimes it does pay to venture out and look international if you can, especially if you get your state to accept the shipping and all that mess. But that's a whole nother thing. Jeez, got pipettes and crazy stuff flying all over the place. All right, I'm not even going to add anything right now. We're going to go all neat. Start with the Abenad tonight. We're gonna also have a sherried one in a bit, but I figured. But you know what? We maybe I should warm up with this other one first. Actually, well, it's a lower ABV. It's a little more timid. We'll do that Glenfarclas 25 just to open it up a bit. This is going to be the first, and we'll kind of just talk around them. One second, if I could type. There we go. The That's weird. Wonder what happened there. Let me see something. Anyway, the what about you guys? Have you had any issues with a bottle that you ran into at first that you're like, okay, I'm into this, and then you had another one or even a couple other ones, and you're like, this is not the same experience. And then you come back again later, and then you have a memorable experience like you did your first time you had it. Does that happen with you guys, or has it always been like up and down? I'm just kind of curious. Last week pulled 5 4-ounce samples. Ooh, very sherry holidays. This is the time of year, man. Yeah, that I really gravitate towards them more often than anything else. I mean, I definitely like to have sherry in the dram if I can get it, even with the peat. Drinking whiskey and cleaning up the state for a family friend. That's cool. I really appreciate you stopping by and saying hey, at least, man. Self-ship bought 3 bottles of Laphroaig cast strength and 3 bottles of Glenjoni 10 patch 5. That's not selfish. That's just good purchasing. Glenrothes Maker's Cut is pretty sherried. I haven't tried that. Did you like it, Cohen, or was it the craft just not there, or was there something funky? Was it sulfuric? Was there any issues? 37 euros to import the 120. Ooh. Brexit is killing us in Belgium. I can imagine, man. Ooh, the 18 sherry mature, drying a bit though. Yeah, probably getting really hard to find. I imagine that 21 is beautiful. It's not a sherry dram, but for ex bourbon, man, it's definitely was my whiskey of the year for 2020. I remember, in the 18. I'm sure is right up there with the quality, if not from what I've heard. Some people like the sherry version even better than the 21, I think. But he's drilled 3 times a day for a month. Y'all are crazy. Pre-ordered the Bunnahabhain cast strength last week. Won't ship till Friday or later. Wow. I guess I better. Take a look and see if I can get my hands on one. Yeah, incredible crew tonight. Definitely, I appreciate it. All the time it changes. Yeah, yeah. I'll have to take a look at that Bunnahabhain 12 cast strength before that just dissipates, because that would be rough. Back to the story at hand. Yeah, one of my favorites going through when I was about 5 6 years ago. I had a group of friends. There was 4 others, and we tried every distillery in Scotland, at least a bottle, a decent one, like a 12 to, if it was an NAS at all, it would have been like a equal, to a 12 up to a 15 usually. And sometimes we would splurge and got some special bottle, but typically it was at least a 12 or above from every distillery we get our hands on, even dead ones like Little Mill, Dallas Dew. We've tried them all, Pittyvac. I mean, you name it, we tried it. And out of the ones, sherried ones, from the get go, I think I started with the 12, or maybe no, it was the 15. I think it was the 15. I actually really liked the Glenfarclas at the very beginning. I think it was the 15, and that is a tough one to find. I think now that's the one I think that's usually overseas more often than you ever see it over here. I think I got really lucky finding an option for that. But anyway, that was my first experience with Glenfarclas, and it was actually really good. Tried some of the other ones. My last bottle I had before I picked up this 25 was the 17, and it was okay. It was not as good as the 15 in my opinion, but that's just my experience with it. And then when I did the 25, the first time, it was actually pretty memorable. That it was pretty decent. So I had a couple bad experiences, came back doing it again, and just kind of thinking how it compares to other sherry whiskey. 43%. This one's ex bourbon and ex sherry, and the weird thing is that the American refill ex bourbon barrels are there, but they also use this European first fill ex sherry cask, which, if it's first fill, that explains why it does have a bit of a good sherry punch to it, even for a 25. But the only thing that really hurts this bottle to me is that 43% ABV. If it was like 46 to 48, I think it'd be a lot better. But one thing that I remember that I did enjoy a lot was the nose on this whiskey, especially. It had lots of really refined notes that you don't get in a lot of whiskey, but it's 25. One thing that's good with the lower ABV is the price is a hell of a lot lower for a 25-year-olds. 25-year-olds usually run around $500, I'd say average. This one's only 225, so that's, I think, the the balance of the scales when you're debating on if something's worth it or not. It's a tough one. The batch variation thing is what makes me kind of hesitant to recommend it to anybody, uh, like aggressively, because I've had two really good experiences. I've had two bad experiences. When that kind of stuff happens, it's like, what do you do? It's like, and two great and two pretty bad. They're not even the same, even though they are the same dram. They don't. They're not. The experiences were like night and day difference, and I'd have no idea why that would be unless the a couple bottles had really tired casks versus other ones. I mean, that's I don't see how that could happen, but we'll see. Sorry, let me get back to the old comments catch up here. Yeah, the that Aaron 18, I got to get my hands on that one too. There's so many whiskeys I got to get my hands on. Here we go. Dalve is not sure, but limited bottling. Dalvve. What is that? Is that High Coast is I guess the distillery and Dalve is the release. I'm assuming. Interesting. Where is it from? Never heard of them. It's probably definitely not Scottish. I would think. Sugared variety. Ooh, the Laphroaig Lure. That is a really good one, but you got to watch the price. I have seen the price all over the place on that whiskey. Even when it was first released, the typical good price is $90 to $100. That's what it should be. I've seen it maybe even lower than that, but not often. Usually it's at least 1 to 110 from what I've seen. I have seen it being offered for 130 to 140, which to me is a way too high, especially when you get it for 90 to $100. So the tricky thing about that whiskey though is it does have really old and young whiskey in it. So that makes it kind of tough to judge because it's like how much of the 30-year-old stuff is in there versus the new stuff. Because I do know that they use pretty good old stuff in that self blend, if you want to call it that. Maker's Cut is higher ABV and decent for unless for 70. That's a good deal. We're just gonna let you play in the background, but we do have the PX carriages ready whenever you pour it. All right, man. All right, I'll be heading to that. That's some India bottled Mortlock 12 sherry. Ooh, a Tomatul cigar malt. Very nice. Sherry with a hint of smokable balance. That's good to hear because I have had the 16 from them and the 12. And I did enjoy the 16, and it's not expensive for a 16-year-old. It's like $60, which is actually extremely cheap for a 16-year-old whiskey. But the craft wasn't all that like, you know, impressive or anything. But that cigar malt sounds good. I'd like to try it. You know what the ABV on that was by chance? Was it over 43? I'm just curious on that one if you remember. I've yet to have a Wow Glenfarclas. Yeah, unfortunately, I think the Wow ones are the family casks, and for those you got to spend crazy money. And once you get to that kind of level of money, usually you're going to go and get a Macallan or a Glendronic or something. Honestly, I mean, it's just the way it usually is nowadays, from what I've heard with Glenfarclas. But if you're able to, it's too bad you can't like taste test something before you buy the bottle. That would be really awesome because that's the only way I could ever really recommend taking the gamble at it. It's like I said, I've had good experiences, like thank God this one, and a couple bad ones. And usually, my bad experiences with sherry drams tend to be when they're overly sulfuric for some reason. The Deaston 20 Oloroso did that to me. I thought it was that. I mean, it's a good deep sherry dram, but man, is there a lot of sulfur in that, and more than one occasion. I don't think that's a batch variation issue. I think that's just the way they make it. And sulfur is not always a bad note. I do kind of like a little funkiness to the whiskey, sometimes. But the 12-year Malaga, I haven't heard of that one yet. I mean, I've heard of it, but I definitely have not seen it or tasted it. So that'll be on the radar. Oh, High Coast is Swedish whiskey. Gotcha. Okay. Top Swedish. Ooh, the locals rate higher than the Mac. Oh, okay. I've heard of the Mac, but not the High Coast. Interesting. Cheapest I've seen the lure is 150 Canadian. That's about 120 American, I would assume. Let's take a quick look. 149 nut dollars to US is about 118. It looks like 120 to 118. Yeah, 118 on the nose. 118.61 to be technical for 149. That's the cheapest. Yeah, that's right on the edge where I'd still probably buy it, but that's right. I mean, they definitely have fine tuned the market where it's like at the very highest level that I would ever consider spending for NAS whiskey. I don't care how much 30-year-old shit's in there. If they don't advertise it, then it can't be that much. I would think. I don't know. The best scotch I've ever had was a sample of a family cask from Glenfarclas. Wow, that that's saying something there. Uh, I hate to know how much the thing's worth that you had, though. It probably was a pretty penny. I have a feeling there, Peter. I could be wrong, but ooh, 2020, 10 local barley is a sherry monster. That's just such a weird thing to me. Hearing people say sherry monster out of the local barley because I was so used to even the supposedly sherried versions being sherried, but I got just great barley and ex bourbon cast notes off the local barley, the one I had, and I think it was, but it was like 20%, 30%. I think I can't remember the blend on the one I had, but it was the 10-year-old. I think it was the second release. I can't remember exactly, but it's been a while back since I've had it. It's definitely not 2020, and but it'd be cool to see what it'd be like. 43% on the cigar. That's not bad though. At least it's not freaking 40. But yeah, that's a tough one. But it's all about the taste, and if it tastes, and I've had great whiskey at 40, 43% too, with just a drop of water. Even sometimes will bring a lot out of it. So that definitely. Was water involved? Did you put like a drop just to see if there was any changes, even at 43, 40%? I still do it just to see if anything happens. I was wondering if you had any notes from there. Yeah, what vintage was that? Opened an old pre-Viking HP last week. Nice to try it side with the Origins. I bet, man. The old school pre-Viking is the 18 is my favorite whiskey. That's an 18-year. I would put it up against most, even the Glendronic Allardyce. I mean, I thought that was well done. ABV's good. The age statement's good. It was before all this crazy marketing. It definitely stood up to being one of my favorites next to like the Ball Blair 99 yeah, first or second release. 83 W6 spectacular stuff. That's awesome, man. 83 family cask of Farkless, man. I bet you that's good. Ooh, the Kilkerran 8. Uh, yeah. there, there's different variations of that. There's the first release. I do have the Kilkerran 8 cast strength. That one I think, was a sherried version. Then they released like an all bourbon version, which I was kind of like, why? And then they went back, I think, to these sherried versions, and I think I heard that yeah, one of those had a lot of sherry in it. That might have been the one he's talking about. I have a feeling. Mount Fantasy Farkless Family Cask birth year bottles $5,600. Oh my goodness, that's a yeah. Yeah, pre 12 and 18 are extremely good. Some of my favorite whiskeys, definitely for sure. But yeah, I mean, this goes to show when you're doing some of these, even if you're investing in some of these and not quite sure what you're going to get, just be weary. Some of these, do your homework and find out which ones do have this batch variation where you don't really always know what you're going to get, and once you have exceeded that $150 level, you're talking some serious money to have a iffy experience, and who wants that, right? But I am glad that I came back, and it's a bit matchsticky. It's funny, the before I would have called it more of a sulfuric note. This one It's got some nice funkiness to it. I could definitely get the sherry. This one's got more of that almost Highland Park esque heather matchstick kind of thing going on, and that's what I do like about Glenfarclas. Sometimes, if you're lucky enough to get it, it it's just if the sulfur is in your face too much, you miss all those subtle nuances of the heather. It's not something to note that's really easy to get if it's if it's like a high decibel blast of intensity, you might not be able to get some of those refined notes out of it. And I think that's where they kind of sometimes suffer. But I wish there was a way to detect it before you buy. That's the problem. Hmm. I like these dragon glasses. They're pretty cool. A long time ago, I was watching the Scotch test dummies do a show, and I won a couple classes that way. It was pretty cool. Um, I like how they kind of just sit there on the side, and pretty good nose. Still good. Got a good directed nose to it. Something a little different. If you're, I mean, I do prefer Glencairn above all. I haven't. I still got to look at Stephen Connor's what you call it, fancy antique. I want to say couplet. It's not a couplet. Uh, oh, the tulip. You know what I'm talking about. It starts with a C. 15 used to be sulfur, but not lately. Yeah, I'm wondering if they've fine-tuned some of their juice because recently it seemed like it got a bit better. It looks like the glass that came with my bottle of Wild Turkey 101. Wow. Yeah, I like that glass actually for something a little different. Copia. That's what it was. Good call there, Peter. Couple drops of water at 46 above would do review just to see the difference. Yeah, normally I do not add water. I hear you. I only do it at the beginning just to see if there's anything I'm missing. But the copia glasses, I need to get into those. Let's have a sip now of. Let's go after we've started and got warmed up with our 43% whiskey, which eh, it is what it is. But let's get to the big boys here. This is 59.5, and these have batch variations too. This is the Abana we're gonna have a little sippy of. This my first dram was a 53 batch 53. Extremely good, memorably good. Clove cigarette finish that lasted for like a month. It was awesome. Second time I had it was a 58. Still outstanding. Maybe not as much intensity with the clove cigarette finish, which kind of was not as, but whatever. Then after that, I had a 63. This is still like 5 years ago or so. And it was still, in the realm. So I was lucky. I don't get the newer batches, but this one's a 65, and I thought that's kind of close. It's not exact science by any means, but it was older than 70s, 80s. I'm not sure what they're up to now. Do you know what the going rate batch number for the Abonai is? Anybody? I'm just kind of curious. I think you're getting the copia one. Oh, the blenders. Yeah, that's true. The copias are like the copia nosing glasses. I was already familiar with True, which was another type of glass besides a Glencairn that I think would be, you know, proper. But Steven's right. Those 1920s blenders glasses are like even a step above, and I'm going to be looking at I gotta get one of those. Thanks for the like. I appreciate it, man. I definitely do. And let me know if you guys have any thing you'd like to see on the show down the road too. I'm gonna be making some comparisons and talking about different types of whiskey overall. I think for different shows, maybe a couple duels, couple shootouts, kind of thing. We'll see. It's a pain that they don't even sell a 15 in US. Yeah, I got one on the UK order, but that makes them kind of pricey. Yeah, that's the crazy thing. But that's why I went ahead and thought, you know what? If I'm gonna invest anything in Glenfarclas, I want to start with the one that makes the most sense for the lowest amount, but the best that I can get for the dollar. And at the time, thankfully, it was. It was the 15 Rido glasses for me. The Hennessy noser is an altered Copita. Copita. That's the word I was looking for. The Copita nosing glass. That's the one. But the one that I really want to look at is that 1920s blenders glass. That thing is badass. It's not cheap though, man. The Avenants around there are 90 to 100. Canadian, which would be about the same as that. A little bit less than that. What you call it? The lure price that you gave me, 149 versus, oh no, you said 90 to oh wow, that's really cheap actually. 90 is only $71 here to 100, which would be $80. So $80, man, is really cheap. Here they go for much more typically. I want to say closer to 100, but let me, before I give you the final on that, let me make sure that I'm not missing. Yeah, 1 to 110. 109 is like the going rate in a Maryland at least. I'm not sure. What are you guys spending on Abanaz out there in California, Cohen? If you don't mind me asking. 70, 80. Oh, that's see, that's a good price. That's the perfect one. If you're gonna get a Glenfarclas, if you're in Canada, go to Alberta and get it. That's a really nice deal, I'd say. Okay, did I get my glasses mixed up? The great thing about doing an Abonat and the carriages together is you just gotta nose the peat, and the peat's the carriages. That's easy. Yeah. Oh god, yeah. That was easy. That's like the easiest thing to ever detect a whiskey to me is peat. It's like I love both, but with and without with the sherry. But wow, I haven't tried it. Have you ever tried to drink out of one of them, Steven? Did you ever have any issues with it? I just can't believe that price for the Abana Peter. That's insanely good. Are you a fan of this whiskey? If you're not, or if you are, let me know why. I'm just kind of curious. Cohen gets them for $73, man. That is nuts. You guys are so freaking lucky. I couldn't imagine getting this for $70. I mean, I would have headaches. I would be drinking so much sherry whiskey. It'd be insane. I mean, that's amazing. That's 80, 90, one. That's $40 difference. $40 just from one coast to the other. 73 here, 109.97 here. That's crazy. This is what pisses me off about like not having an import region like California's got. I'm gonna I'm gonna do a petition. I don't know, a revolt, some sort of uh, picket for getting some distribution here in Maryland. It just doesn't make any damn sense that they don't have anything. Batch 49 and 47. No, no, open 53. That was my first, man. That was an outstanding bottle. Anyone had any recent ones? What are some of the later numbers? I'm just curious. No issues drinking out of the blenders. Okay. They work fantastic for lower ABVs, but I use them for anything Scotch related. Okay. Yeah, I have to take a closer look for that because that is an investment. But if Steven's got the knack for drinking them, then it shouldn't be that bad. You would think. I do love the nose on this Sauvignon, man. I mean you can't miss the Oloroso notes in this. It's just crazy. The uh, the only one about thing about this one that seems to it seems to have a bit of tannin involved. I'm not sure like how that works, but people that are susceptible to red wine, like having headaches, I've noticed have headaches when they drink this whiskey. I have not had that issue, thank God. I'm not as susceptible to tannins as some people, but that's one thing to kind of think about on this one. I've heard stories, but I think it also has to do with just being cast strength and it not tasting like cast strength whiskey as far as the flavor in the sherry notes and stuff are enough to kind of block out the alcohol intensity on this. So it's a lot easier to drink than most cast strength whiskeys, I'd say. That might have a lot to do with why people sometimes get the what they call the tannin headache afterward. I don't know. It might be because it's the Spanish Oloroso sherry butts that are involved. That I guess it could be it too. But great nose. Mm, I love that palate. It's scarily easy to drink though. I mean, I mean, you can feel the intensity. It definitely doesn't feel weak, but it's just there's so much flavor going on. Oh, it's just unreal how strong it is. Where you don't get that punch that you do with other cast strength whiskeys, like the Ardbeg Quarry Reckon is a hell of a lot more difficult to go through comparatively. I don't have an issue with Quarry Reckon. I love the black pepper, white pepper deal, but if you're not used to the spice level, that could be an issue too. This does have a bit of a really nice like Christmas cake, the nutmeg ginger thing. I mean, there's a lot going on. A lot of like the 10 spices, Chinese allspice is definitely in that. Cinnamon. It's very sugary. A lot of fruit too. Toffee and figgy. Figs definitely. Well, if there's any citrus at all, it's really subtle. It's more like it's got some more like nuttiness going on in the background. Cashews and like a pecan. Oh man, that is one of my favorites, though. I have to say. I mean, I I'm not an Abelard fan per se with their regular releases, but the Abanam, I really like this one. I haven't had. They do have a newer version. It's called what is that? The Abana Casca something or other. Let me take a quick look and see what the name of that is. It's like Aberlour Abuna Alba. That's the one. I've not tried that. It's also cast strength whiskey. It's not sherry. It's like a straightforward American oak ex bourbon cask. It looks like. Um, it was released like in late 2019. It looks like. Is that one worth a look at all? If you're an Abelard fan, or does anyone know about the Alba? Because that's straightforward ex bourbon. American oak. I have a feeling that's a very woody whiskey, which I'm usually not a huge fan of. Like, I like the triple wood cast strength that Laphroaig released as a Carriages, which is really good. The regular triple wood to me, and like drams like the double wood, are typically a little too oaky, a little too over the top from me. But that Quercus Alba's got to be what it is. That might be, I don't know. I have to take a look. Has anyone ever tried the Alba version? And if you did you like it or dislike it? I'm just curious. Out of all you guys, I'm sure one of you guys have had to try at least once. Um, Sorry, let me go back. I don't like how far you have to tilt the glass back, and it makes it awkward. Okay. No one brought up the classic cuts, which I never opened. The 2017. I will say that I was lucky enough to get a bottle. I did a trade with somebody. I'm trying to remember what it was, or it might have been a gift. This one I think was a gift actually. It was from my old friend Bob H from New Jersey. If you're watching him in at some point, always good to run into you. I'll have to give you a text, see how you've been doing. It's been a while since we've. He came down actually one time. It was awesome. He was in DC visiting, and we did a swap and had a few drinks on the. This was like right when COVID started. We went out on my. In my carport area, I got a table out, socially distanced outside, but we still sipped some El Delphi, really good. It was I think it was a Deanston sherry whiskey, extremely good. We had the Lagavulin 18 Fashil release. We had we had a bunch of stuff, and at some point before that, he actually gifted me the classic cut. I think it was either 2017 or 2018. And damn, it was actually funny because when I first popped it open, it was a little too forward with the, I don't know if it's sulfuric notes to me, but something just was not quite right. But after like a little bit of this little bit of oxidation, not much, but just a little bit of sitting out, it actually opened up really well, and enjoyed it a lot more after that. So I think that 2017 might have been that bottle. If it wasn't the 17, it was definitely was the 18. 'Cause that was definitely more than a few years ago. I haven't noticed. I think so now. Oh no. Oh, don't ruin this experience. I'm looking forward to opening the PX around Christmas. I bet that is a good one. I'm gonna have to get me a bottle of that. The liquid, it kind of holds up because it's bulbous. It doesn't flow right out of the glass. Okay. More peaty flavor. Interesting. Yeah, I will say I can't speak for the old versus the new 18 as much. But I do know that the 12 old pre-Viking and new, that there definitely was more of a matchstick flavor on the previous 12 and more heathery notes. So that, yeah, the peatiness was definitely a little more sharper, I think, on the first release versus that second one. Gordon McPhail, McKellen, Cast Strength, Cherry Monsters. Yeah, we better than McKellen Kabbalah stuff. Different league. Wow. I gotta check out some of their Macallan bottles. Is there a tuber that uses those 20 spillers glass? You think I saw someone with it? That's a question. I've never seen if anyone was using it in like a YouTubing type thing. I maybe those guys down in Texas. Was it one of those guys? What are they called? The whiskey tribe, I think. I could see them maybe tinkering with those, but I don't know if anybody that really does a lot of glassware. That's a good it's kind of a cool concept to get into on the side. I mean, there's not, I guess, enough maybe to make a whole big thing out of it, but um, it definitely makes and breaks, I think, the whiskey experience. Because I like if I don't have like if someone gives me a tumbler, which you usually get even some, sadly, I don't understand why they're so ignorant to the deal, but I've been to some really nice, what you would consider nice whiskey bars that have really great whiskey options, but they still serve it in these freaking tumblers or these like, not a Glencairn, not a Copita nosing glass, or any of that. They give you like a freaking. I mean, at least it's not a shot glass, I guess, but they'll give you like a typical tumbler glass, and you're getting like the Bunnahabhain 18. I mean, to me, that's just asinine. But that's just me. They're Glencairn guys. Oh, okay, yeah. I was just trying to guess at who might be into the glassware deal. Enjoyed the old 50. Oh, yes. That is a beautiful thing. And you're right. And that's the weirdest thing about that whiskey to me is it reminds me a lot of the old Pulteney old 17 year. Um, is even though those whiskeys aren't sherried at all, they have this like something else. It's like, I know it is all American oak. It's an ex bourbon, type of cask deal. It's kind of straightforward, but there's other notes in it that make you think it's sherried. And the Glen Scotia 15 is another prime example of a whiskey where you're like, that's gotta have sherry in it, but it doesn't. So those are like what I could call faux sherry glasses, like the Highland glass. I don't know if I'm familiar with that one. What's that look like, Peter? Oh my! I love that. There's like some nice chocolatey notes in this glass too. I've always liked the Abelauer Abanah. I do miss the finish. That I got a better finish on the earlier batches. Let me try one more time. This is all neat, by the way, too. Wow, that's so good though. Okay, that's a good finish. I am getting my cloves. Okay, it is still there actually. If I sit and think about actually enjoying it, It really still is there, but this is an older batch. Do you know what the more recent ones are? No one's really chimed in. I'm gonna have to take a look and see if Abana recent batches. I'm just curious of what number are up to. The latest batch. Oh, this might be a good one. 70, 71. Let's see, 65 more rows. Oh, someone's actually got a, list of all the batches and their ABV in the approximate year of the bottling. Okay, interesting. So the 53 is a 2015 bottle. Okay, that makes sense. The 63 is a 2018 bottle. Okay, so they're up to the 71 right now for 2021. 71 is the latest batch for 2021. Someone said they saw it. Yeah, that makes sense. So yeah, I got lucky, I guess, on this pool. I'm surprised that the 65 was still, but it's 2019. I guess it's not super old. Really, yeah, the 2015 would be in a whole nother league, and I don't even want to know what those some of those really early versions were like. I bet those were really good. I can Has anyone ever found an earlier than like number 50, just like sitting in a shelf? Yeah, that was my first introduction, and I fell in love with it from the get go. Uh, and when I saw that 65, I was like, well, I know it's not a recent bottle at least, so it could be still got some classic notes in there that I really like. And thankfully, it definitely hit the mark. I'm not sure if it's as good as 53 by any means, but I like to think that it's pretty damn close. Much better than the 18 year. I hate to say it, but it's not. It's like night and day difference to me. And I like older whiskey too, even at lower ABV if it's really well refined and well crafted. But yeah, these are definitely no chill filtration on these. They don't really say about the color. I wouldn't think with this being sherry that I mean if they're coloring, I would think they're only doing it for consistency's sake, but because they're not really doing it, it's not like a Dalmore color where it's like freaking the 15 is like as dark as the Red Peter's Avatar. It's not like that. That's for damn sure. 61 is as early as you've had. Okay, 50 on the shelves about a year ago. Wow, that'd be a hell of a find. Also found a couple 46s, batch 38. Wow, 38s from 2011, man. That would be awesome. That'd be something else. I gotta do some old school looking. I should go to some like rural areas that have decent Scotch stores to see if I can find like an old like number 15 or batch 20 sitting on the shelf for like $85. I would do a dance. I can't do a cartwheel, but I guarantee I'll do one in their front lobby if I found that just sitting there for like $80 and it's like a you know top 10 batch number. Oh man. It's the perfect time of year for a good sherried scotch too. Mm. Finish is still kicking, still great too. Mm. Love those dark chocolatey notes with the spiciness. A little drying, but not terribly dry. Subtly dry. It's a good combo, I'd say. I'd still give it at least a 4.25 out of 5. I really have always liked that one. I'm thinking a 4 is probably fair. The older batches I give a 4.25, longer finish, but I think it's a solid 4 out of 5. I really do. Not really much. I mean, other than the possible, take the coloring issue away. It's already non-chill filtered. Age statement would be great, but it definitely doesn't taste like young whiskey. I'd be surprised if there's a lot of young whiskey in it. I'd think it's at least 12 years of age if I had to take a guess. An ABV, I mean, that's pretty spot on perfect at 59.5. You can't really, Let me see if water before we move on to the next one. I didn't really spend a whole lot of time with the Glenfarclas, but we'll come back to that later, maybe just as a comparison. I just want to do a drop and see. Love the high proof. Yeah, that's the thing. One thing I noticed over the years is definitely at first I thought, well, surely a 40% can taste just as good as a 50 or above, but scientifically it's just not there. And now I see the reasoning why it makes a big difference on the flavor alone you get out of whiskey a lot of the time. I think that's why a lot of these guys that do even their own, like even go into like the moonshine deal, a lot of them will try to get the higher ABV because of I think the factor that the flavor just pows, explodes when you get to a certain level. Spicier, wow, okay, wow, okay, even a little more intense on the delivery as far as the flavor. Actually, is a little bit more intense with a drop of water. That's crazy, but spiciness does usually get kicked up with water when I add a drop. Gives more sprightliness to the oak wood or whatever other properties are going on with spice level, but really dry though after a drop of water. More dry than before. Hmm. I think I prefer it neat still. It's weird that the palate is a little bit better, I think, with the drop of water, but hmm, that's still going. Hmm. Great mouth coat. It's medium. It's not as thick as a Kleinlich, but it's definitely got a really nice mouth coat to it. Definitely not thin, not on the thin side like a Glencoin or some other ones you might have had that's got like a typically more of a thinner mouth coat. Solid whiskey, yeah. I'm gonna stick with my 4 on that one. It's a solid deal. I definitely would pick it up, even if you find a newer batch. There are variations with these, so keep that in mind. Speaking of variations, we're gonna go into another one here. Good to see you there, Brent. What you drinking tonight? Out of curiosity, we're doing sherried whiskeys tonight primarily, but it doesn't have to be. Got a sample of Laphroaig 16 last week. Really liked it. Trying to get a bottle now. Wow, really? That was one that is another good example of a really woody whiskey to me. That kind of was like, I don't know if it's for me. I mean, if you like a good, straightforward ex bourbon woody cask, it definitely has that. Uh, I don't think I've got it up here where you can see, but yeah, I've got that 16. I got it off of a really got lucky because it was only available like either Traverweed till I want to say or outside the U.S. And then this place in Florida of all places snagged a bunch of bottles, and I ordered it from down there and got it that way right when it was released. This was a couple of years ago. I want to say I can't remember exactly, but that one is iffy. Well, not my favorite Laphroaig, but if you like a more of a straightforward bourbon type ex bourbon cask, then that definitely would be the one to go for. Good to see you, Brent. What's up with you, man? McAllen really freaking amazing. I do like McAllen stuff. Wish the prices were a little more reasonable sometimes, especially in Maryland. But with that said, they do have a nice tasting dram. I'll give them that. Fat Glencairn with a short stem. The Bowmore 18. Ooh. Ugh. I mean, if you're talking distillery bottle, I'm kind of like, I don't know, man. If it's independent bottle, definitely, I would definitely consider it. Um, if I'm thinking Bowmore, like I like, it's not a sherry dram, I don't think, but I like the Doris more which is also known as the Tempest overseas. I think that's more of a straightforward non-sherry, but let me just verify that before I sound like a moron. I think that's straightforward peated, like, ex bourbon. Yeah, it's first fill ex bourbon, even better. That's the one I would go for more. Uh, Bowmore Sherried, if I was trying to get a distillery bottle, I would go with like a old one, like a 23 to 27 year if I could get it. I know they had a Vintner trilogy series that had a 23-year French oak, I think it was, or 27-year Vintner French oak, something like that. I had my eyes on it. I thought about pulling the trigger. Bowmore's distillery bottlings have gotten me kind of iffy, so I'm kind of like maybe on that one. I've had the 18 before. It's usually, I think, around 130 ish. I would probably get something different than the 18 itself, and if I was going for that, but I don't know, man. Let me see. It's definitely not a high ABV. I know that. Let me see what the Bowmore 18. It is definitely peated, ex bourbon and ex sherry casks. They don't really have a recipe. They spend their time exclusively in either ex bourbon barrels or in ex sherry casks. Then they're blended together to produce the whiskey. So it's kind of 43%. That's where I kind of have trouble at 43% colored, chill filtered, most likely. I'm just kind of like, I don't know, man, on that one. That's iffy. I'd probably skip and go to a different deal. I have a single cast. Now you're talking. A single cast Ben Nevis sherry. Yeah, Ben Nevis sherry is a whole other thing, but sadly you can't find the Ben Nevis bottles here very much. The distillery ones and the independent ones. Yeah, Thomas Brothers would be one I would definitely look for. Is that a Laphroaig sherry cast? No, this is the Carriages. The new PX Carriages is what we're going to look at right now. You are a whiskey too, Pochi. I haven't cut a live stream in a while, but I missed the Thursday night after parties at the Scotch for dummies. Yeah, yeah, I do too, man. Um, yeah, we actually did well. There wasn't any issues with those guys. It was kind of strange. They were doing really well, and they started getting involved with this whole Discord thing. And the guy running their Discord decided to try to have after parties during the show I was putting on. So I would have guys that would be somewhere else with their after party than rather than watching the show anymore. And that's why I was kind of like, well, if they're just going to run off, then I'll just, do my own thing, my own way, I guess, in another night and just call it a day. But I miss hanging out with those guys too. I don't think they did it on purpose. I don't think it was something consciously done. It was just kind of like, I think they were just getting bigger and trying to do more things, and I was still trying to get my stuff together and trying to figure out what I was going to do and how I was going to do it, since I don't have anybody to help and that kind of stuff. So it's like, I don't have a lot of time also to put this together. I run a nonprofit that is very time consuming as well as work full time. So, and have a family. So it's not easy to do what I do as it is already. I think the 18 and 15 have a lot of sherry in them, but that's just my opinion. Yeah, no, they do have a lot of sherry. It's just the craft of the whiskey to me is where I'm kind of like, the Lambic sherry. Now that's different. Yeah, that's where I would definitely jump all over that versus the 15 darkest regular release. I think you're spot on there, Peter. I'd love to get my hands on that, but I'm sure the price point's just crazy aftermarket now, right? I'm just curious. Kellen official bottlings days are subpar. I was referring to an independent cast strength bottling. Yeah, definitely. No, I hear you there. An independent bottling of their a cast strength independent bottling for McKellen. That'd be, yeah, that's something special. Is that the 2021? I saw it the other day, but wasn't sure to put down the money. Yeah, let's get into that right now. Matter of fact, it's 10 o'clock, so we might as well go into the good stuff here. Have you had the Gorman Phil McKellen cast strength? Interesting. That's a good question for old Malty Alty there. This is the new Carriages 2021. Yes, cask strength Pedro Jimenez casks. For sherry. Lots different than Oloroso if you're not familiar. It definitely pays to just study the different types of sherries and what they bring because just because you like one sherry bottle of scotch, peated or non peated, does not make a difference. It depends on the type of sherry. It makes a huge difference with the taste you're going to get. One thing that's interesting about this, I did not even realize until I was looking at this, and I swear you cannot tell. You cannot. You would not be able to tell from this taste. This is triple distilled. I'm sorry, triple matured. That's where I was kind of like triple distilled. There's no way. No, okay, it's triple matured, so you definitely could tell it this. The first maturation here is a first fill American oak ex bourbon barrels. The second is American oak ex bourbon quarter casks, and then finally finished in European oak hogsheads originally containing PX sherry. So they're starting you with first fill American oak, then they're giving you American oak with quarter casks, and then they're finishing it with a PX European oak hogshead. That's quite a recipe. And I will say, I am pleasantly, so pleasantly, thank you, Laphroaig gods. Thank you. The last one, the port one, not a fan as much. I did like the Fino a lot. I bought 2 bottles. I liked it that much. Uh, the quarter cask I liked. I used to have them back here, so I'm used to kind of looking back and looking. Uh, I love all the Carriages series. The only ones that didn't really do a whole lot for me with the regular quarter cask matured. I think it was 2017. It's going back a long ways. And that port wine one, that one didn't really do much for me. I love the triple wood cast matured. I love uh, the Fino and the Amontillado, the port wine from 2013. The Amontillado was 2014. The Midiera, I love the Midiera from 2016. I love the regular organic barley version they did in 2015 Carriages. That was really, really good too. The 15-year-old Carriages didn't really do much for me either. That was kind of a letdown, to be honest with you. But I think Steven says, I think this version of Carriages is as good as anything they put out since Portwood. We'll get to that. Let's let's take a little gander. Been having this sit out for a bit. Oh my, that nose is to die for, man. This reminds me of a really nice. Now, when you think barbecue, you instantly think of usually three different places. I would say number one, North Carolina barbecue. Some people would say barbecue heaven. Some people not as much. You got Texas. Some people would say they have the best barbecue and it's barbecue heaven. Some not as much. And then you've got Kansas City, which is kind of where this reminds me of that because I grew up in Louisville, Kentucky, and we tend to like a lot of more of the skyline chili kind of stuff, the whole Cincinnati vibe, Kansas City. So we tend to like a little more sweetness in our and we even put spaghetti in our chilies. Don't tell anybody, but it's a staple for me. I don't like chili without spaghetti in it. Some people think I'm crazy, but it's just the way I was brought up, and every time I ate it. But we also like more of a sweetness to it. And this PX cask, the nose on this has got this really nice sweet barbecue, briskety, smoky as hell. I get the peat and the smoke separated in the nose on this. It's distinct. It's a really nice fruit. Oh man, deep, rich red ones like your raspberry, strawberry. But man, is that peat smoke intense too at the same time. It's so nicely sweet. I like the sweet peat with that smokiness. It's not sweet like a Ardbeg No kind of sweet though. It's got more of a savory balance with it. That's one thing the No doesn't have is a lot of savory notes to kind of counteract that sweet mint thing going on. This has got enough of the savory ham, bacon to balance out the sweetness to me. Hmm. Very, very, very well done. Now, the Portwood to me is my favorite Laphroaig. That's from 2013 that they've ever released. Next to the Brodier, which is they have a couple batches of Brodier that's also a port wood type of Laphroaig. Those are so excellent. That's like grape jelly jam, graham crackery, peaty good. Oh my goodness. I just that one makes me just drool just thinking about it. So good. The Amontillado is right up there. Excellent intensity, great flavor. Um, and then yeah, it's kind of like they were really at few. I started around 2013 with the carriages, so I started really at the top, and then they're still, they're still really good, and they're kind of like cruising down a little bit, and then they kind of did like a drop off really recently. Now they're coming right back up where they were. I have to agree with Steven, man. This is like I'm not sure if I put it up with the Portwood Amontillado those 2013, 2014 years, but this is up there with the 2015 for sure, quality wise. That organic barley and the I do prefer this than the Madeira, even though I like the sweet Madeira wine deal with the Laphroaig. This one is still better balanced, better crafted, better feel. What is the ABV on this? 58.9. Wow, that's crazy, but oh man, jerky. I mean, there's so many notes going on in this. It's crazy. Screw North Carolina. Tennessee barbecue is better than it. Tennessee, yeah, I would put like Tennessee, Kansas City, Cincinnati in its own realm. I agree. I'll say our barbecue. When I say our, I mean like Kentucky, Tennessee, Missouri, that region a lot better than the other ones. Sorry. Speaking of peated whiskeys, has anybody tried the new Long Road 10 Malbec? I think it's quite good. That sounds excellent. Have not tried it. If I had a bottle or knew of a bottle, I would definitely try it, pick it up. That would be awesome. I think Malbec I haven't had in a while. That's the dry red one, if I'm not mistaken, right? If I'm thinking correctly, barbecue and sweet peat is a great combination. Yeah, this one has definitely got it. Skyline Chili in Cincinnati. Yeah, we have them in Louisville too. We used to. I'm not sure if they're still around after all the stuff that's happened recently, but they were there at least at one point. I smashed that like button. You should too. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. That's very kind of y'all. What did you think of the Laphroaig Sherry cask? Okay, now the original Laphroaig Sherry cask versus this is completely different, but not. I'm not going to say the Sherry Oak 10-year, the new one, is bad. It's just so different than what I was expecting. Now that one has zero sweetness. It's extremely what you would think in Oloroso, but even more savory and more dry than you would expect. It has extremely low levels of sweetness in it at all. I thought it was an extremely good savory dram. If I was in the mood for something more on the lines of a Longhorn 16. It reminded me a lot of the Longhorn 16. Maybe not as refined because it didn't have this extra 6 years to sit. But if they took that whiskey and gave it another 6 years of age, it would be a lot like the Longhorn 16, I think. Um, so yes or no on the new Sherry Oak 10 from Laphroaig? I say yes, but only if I'm in the mood for a dry, savory, sherried whiskey. That's really how often am I in the mood for that whiskey? It's not often, to be honest with you, but I do. This is subjective to a lot of extent. So I'm definitely not saying my viewpoints are correct or anything like that. But just for me personally, I give it a yes. I give it a thumbs up. But it's a mood whiskey to me. It's not as good as the Portwood, but I like it better than the Amontillado. Okay, well, let's have. I haven't even had a taste yet. I've been nosing it for a while. The nose is hella good. I'll tell you that. I mean, when you know a whiskey's good when you can sit there and nose it for like a half hour, and you're talking about it, you haven't even sipped it yet. I mean, it's a great nose, so that should tell you a lot right there. I wish I was a Laphroaig ambassador so bad. I should be, as much as I've invested in that company and love their whiskey, but I have love for Ardbeg and Lagavulin and others, Bruichladdich and others too. I can't devote myself to one distillery ever in my life, I don't think. Oh, beautiful mouth coat. Deceptively easy to drink, neat. Oh my goodness. It's got the perfect blend of PX sweetness with all those savory. Oh, that flavor is that finish is long too. I mean, I get even get like a little bit of like a sweet tomato kind of a paste kind of a piece in the finish. It's like a hearty Italian meal. It's weird, but it's really good. It starts out like being more of like a meaty bacon, ham kind of thing. And then it kind of like progresses into this like almost like an Italian pasta dish. It's crazy, but it's so good. The smokiness is more prevalent on the nose than the palate to me for some reason though. That's interesting. I mind because I did pour it out for a bit earlier and let it sit out for a bit. It might be I don't think it's over oxidized, but get a solid mouth coat on that one. Mm. Oh, good. The Amontillado, man, is so. To me, that one's so special because it's nothing like anything else I've ever had. It's got the perfect blend of the peat and the Amontillado, but man, this is damn good. It's still going. Oh, it's nice cured ham, Virginia ham with pineapple, cherries. Oh my god. Okay, I think you've convinced me that it's equal. It's equal to the Amontillado, and that's saying a lot. It's damn good. Perhaps a blend between Laphroaig and the Abelard. Telex Glacier. I wish. I was lucky enough to meet that guy, man. That was awesome. Back in the day, the Scotch for Dummies, and we got the chance to go up and meet him at the New York Spaniard place where was doing the Spaniard release. And he got me actually interested in doing my own blends and stuff. And I learned a lot, man. If you got a bottle of Kleinleach 14 and you've got like a bottle of even if it like a bottle of decent youthful whiskey and a bottle of really good old whiskey and you know what you're doing, you could do some really, really nice blends. I've been lucky enough to pull it off. It's not always the exact science or easy, but sometimes it's like, playing a card game. Sometimes you come out a winner and sometimes you don't. But huh. I don't know, man. You're gonna have PX and Oloroso Sherry. They're the similar intensity. Ugh. I'll have one more sip of this and blend it with a little bitty bit of that. I'm not gonna go crazy, but I'll definitely humor you on and see how that goes. A sample of this PX. Oh, he said, "Oops, Kilhoman." PX Kilhoman, having a sample of it, liked it. Saving the rest. Okay, doing a Kilhoman PX with the PX Cure just side by side. That would be an interesting combination. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I do have a sweet tooth. That's true. I hate to admit it, but I do like I do tend to like sweeter drams more than just full floor. But I like some savory shit too. Like the Longmorn 16 is one of my favorite savory drams. The Kilhoman Sinag, the old releases were very savory. Uh, I like the Holland Park Fire. That's a very savory dram. No sweetness really involved with that, even for a port, which is kind of crazy to think about. But speaking of Laphroaig, I have a 76 vintage coming in from an auction on Thursday. Oh my goodness gracious, dude. That is crazy. I need to ask you, Stephen, is there a special something special happening in December, like the early week of December? Is that your birthday, or is that something else I'm thinking of? I marked something on my calendar, and I could have sworn it says Stephen Connor, but it might have been like around December. Let me know if that sounds like the right timing or if I'm off. Waiting on a 1989 Laphroaig, 33-year-old from Dornick. Oh my god, good. That is insane, dude. Uh, love 70s Laphroaig. They're normally not. They're normally fruit bombs too. Wow, that sounds glorious, man. What happened to Malt News tonight? He we talked about doing a show. We do have a couple other shows that we already had lined up. Something either came up where it was like another engagement that he had to take care of or do. That's all I know. We're planning on doing another show. We got a I know we have a Ben Romick show at least in the future as well. I think is at least maybe another one, but that's all I know at this point. I'm sure he'll be back next Tuesday. Have you tried the 2021 edition of the Kilhoman Lockborn? Very, very good. I have not. My bottle that I got was either 2015 or 2016. I did. I really enjoyed it. But I'm a whiskey explorer. So typically, once I get a bottle, unless I really, really, really like it and it's really, 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 really affordable, I usually don't go back to it unless I have a really, really good reason. So that is one that I would rebuy if I wasn't looking at other whiskey, if that makes sense. Like if I just wanted a clear cut, great peated sherry dram. I think it's Oloroso sherry they use in the Lochgorn, but don't quote me on it. I'm not sure if they use PX at all. I don't think they do. I think it is an Oloroso influence deal. I have to look that up actually. Let's take a quick gander at the old Lochgorn. I believe. I wonder if they say. They might even say. Oh, it's Oloroso. So I thankfully I nailed it. Um, that's 2015. The new ones, yeah, ex Oloroso Sherry Butts, and going to the newest one, Oloroso Sherry Butts. So they're still doing the same kind of concept. So yeah, if I was looking for an Oloroso Sherry peated dram, it's definitely one of my favorites. So I think you hit a nail on the head. Homemade spaghetti and meatballs, the slightly peated whiskey, perfect combination. It really is, man. I mean, yeah, if I was pairing like the Carriages PX with anything, any like spaghetti bolognese, carbonara, spaghetti carbonara would be awesome with this. Bolognese would be awesome. Any uh, tomato gnocchi dish, anything with basil or rosemary, I think would even combine really well with this. I mean, it's got a lot of good stuff, man. I like sweet notes from the dreams too. Icy says Christmas. No. It's early December, like December, like the third or fourth, fifth, somewhere around there. Good to see you in there too, Dustin. I was wondering if he was going to make it. Dustin, have you tried the new PX carriages yet? What'd you think? I'm just curious. I'm with Steven. I really like this one. I think it's a hell of a lot better than a lot of the stuff they've released recently. So, yeah, nice love of Benromic. We've got three Benromics coming too. We got a Benromic Super Show coming. We should petition Glazer for a yearly release collaboration with the Whiskey Tours. Hey, if you don't mind writing to him and saying, "Hey, I know a guy that is a huge fan of yours that would love to do some sort of discussion on." I mean, I would pay money just to talk blends with this guy. That's how like personable he was. He wasn't like overly pretentious. He knew what he was talking about. He paid attention to every detail you could possibly think of. I mean, it was something to witness, and I would definitely up to do it again. So uh, definitely write to him and tell him. That's what it takes is people writing in and being active for these to do it. Good night to you, IC. I know how it goes. Bring on the sweet smoky Pete. That's what this definitely is. Muser has a whiskey flu after all the celebration of the Packers talking first place in the NFC. Probably so. Oh my goodness, man. I'm kind of out on these NASP whiskeys without a lot of recommendations. Oh yeah, okay. Now here's the deal, Dustin, and I was not. I don't think Steven was really up with it either. The port and wine release of the 2020 carriages, it wasn't happening for me. I had buyer's remorse after that one, and the only other time I had that happen with a carriages was the quarter cask one. I wasn't really into as much. Um, I'm sure there was another one. The 15-year carriages I did not really get into at all, and I was excited. I was like, "Ooh, a 15-year carriages! This is going to be awesome." I'm not talking about the 2015 release, but the 15-year Friends of Laphroaig release they did. It was not good. That port and wine didn't do it for me, but this one, dude. This one's special. This one's special. This one's up with the Amontillado 2014 release. It might not be as good as the Portwood for me, but it's damn good, dude. I wish Kelman would go 50% across the board. At 46% ones have seemed thin. Yeah, that's a good point, Donner. I'm with you on that one. I'm much rather have 50 than 46 if I can get it. 46 I'll take if that's all I can get. But one thing worth considering for a great price is the Benriach Smoky 12. Yeah, I agree on that. That is a very good dram because even the 10 was really good. I can hardly imagine how better the 12 would be. Oh, yeah. What's in the glass? Yeah, the new carriage is worth the going price. Definitely, you will have to grab it, Dustin. I have to say on this one. Did you buy the new No Name? I've heard a lot of people liking it. I had the first release. I never tried. I had this. I did have the second. I like the first one the best out of the two, but I haven't tried the newest one yet. You might even like this Benriach for 60. Yeah. Yeah, if you're looking for just something a daily sipper that's not too crazy expensive, that's definitely interesting. I definitely would pick up the new Benriach Smoky 12 or 10. Definitely for the Kilhoman single cast, usually higher ABV as well. Same here, definitely. Glendronic 1993 24-year Rosso single. Oh my god, that port was complete crap. Yeah, I, I really did not like it, and I felt like I had buyer's remorse. I'm not sure if I would go and say complete crap, but Dustin definitely does not have any um, issues with his negative feelings on whiskey. That's for sure, and that's not a bad thing. He definitely can just tell you how he feels about the negative ones. That's for sure. 9 years in Oloroso Cask. Ooh, 2021 Kilhoman. Oh wow, from Edna. Wow, that's crazy. I knew he was from Minnesota, but I did not know he was from a small town in Minnesota. That's cool. That's crazy. Small town probably too, I imagine. With that kind of name, Edina or Edina, I'm not sure how you say it, but I haven't seen the new no name, but not really planning about anything for see if he's minus any bourbons. I'll get with the loyalty points. Yeah, I hear you there, man. But no, Dustin, this one's got a great nose. I mean, it's got the perfect balance of sweetness and savory notes to me. It's just weird because you've got these savory, bacony notes, smoke, deep smoke, but you also got the sweet, the barbecue, brisket, like a good like rack of ribs. I mean, it's crazy. But when the palate it evolves, you get like this like all neat too. For 58.9, one of the easiest 60, I mean, might as well say 60% ABV whiskeys I've ever tasted. And the finish goes for days. degrees. No exaggeration. That is crazy. I mean, yeah, it's almost like if you drink this and then you went back to the port wine, you'd be like, this is not even the same distillery. It's how different they are. It's crazy. I really like the port wine, but my defense is only curious I've had, so I can't. Oh, okay, yeah. I mean, it's. I don't think that I'm saying it's a bad whiskey. It's just that the Kyrgyz series from Laphroaig is is special. It's like they started it, I think, in 2000. What was it? '08? I can't remember when they started the Kyrgyz series. I want to say the original was '08, but I might be off. 2000. Yeah, I think it was. I think it was the '08. Was it? Let me see something. I could type with a damn. 20, see, 20, 20, 13, 15, 20, 21. Oh, there's another page. No wonder I couldn't find it. 12, 10, 11, '08. Yeah, '08 was the first. And I unfortunately have never been lucky enough. I would give my left testicle to taste the '08, '09, 10, 11, and 12. Those three, I'm sorry, those one, two, three, four, five. I've never tried the 13 and on though. I've had, and every one of them have been pretty special, with the exception, I think, of the quarter cask edition, the port uh, and wine cask edition. Those are the ones that in the Kyrgyz 15-year version. Those the 2015 is great, but the 15-year, no. Those are the three that I just did not get into. But all the other ones were like in a class of their own. Even though they were priced out at 110, 120, they were well worth it. Like beyond worth it. Like I would pay, don't tell anybody, but I would pay more for certain types of these. I'm not going to say which ones. Certain types I would pay more for than the 110, 120 they're asking for. But some of them they've released, like the three I've mentioned, are worth a lot less. Like I'd barely get 50, $60 for that port and wine. That's how bad it was. It was like a night and day Pluto versus Mercury kind of difference. I'm showing my age because to me Pluto is still a planet. So there you go. Anyway. Oh, okay, Minneapolis. Gotcha. Long Row Red should appeal to Sweet Pea lovers. Yes, I would think so. I know Dustin's a fan. I think of the Longwood Red series, if I'm not mistaken. There, Dustin. Port wine was bad whiskey. Whoever let that one out of the door should be brought directly in jail. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. I agree. My mom will always say something like that. That's funny, man. That must be like a Louisville slash Indiana slash Ohio saying or something. I mean, we played a lot of Monopoly growing up. I guess that's what it was. But yeah, that was just bad, bad priorities. Yeah, most Long Row Reds just picked up a couple bottles from the 2021 Malbec. Okay, yeah, liked it a lot. Smoke Wagon UU. Huh. Halloween Smoke Wagon. Interesting. Ooh, the Pinot Long Row Red. That sounds good. A Monopoly card, yeah. A good whiskey truly slows down time and creates thoughts for, yeah, too deep for words. That's true. It doesn't happen very often, man. But thank God Ardbeg and Laphroaig got their shit together and fixed whatever they were doing wrong. Because between the drum release of Ardbeg and that godforsaken port and wine Laphroaig release, I was like, man, are we doomed on whiskey releases from now on? Because I, I know the Scorch wasn't for everybody. Rather liked the first. That one oxidizes way too fast. Like to me, it was a lot better when I first opened it. Then it kind of went downhill fast afterward for the Scorch. But hopefully this one's not like that. I mean, so far it's not. I'm already gotten down to, I'm already down to the old. It's so sad to see that actually, but You can tell I've been enjoying it. It's a damn good whiskey, I have to say. Long Row Red 11 Pinot Noir is a stunner. See, you guys are killing me. You know why? Because when I'll have to admit, I have had my share of Hazelburn, and I've definitely had my share of Springbank whiskeys. You name it, I probably have had it. I've had the Long Row regular peated release, no specialty, but I've never had the old stuff like the 18-year or any of the red shit. I've never had the Long Row Red series. I got to get me one of those at some point after Black and Port Wine. I was convinced it's time to run. And the new Lagavulin 12 sucks. Wow. Okay. I didn't know that. I did not know that. That's really sad to hear because their older 12s were always pretty kick ass. But yeah, I mean, the Black, I know a lot of that one was a very divisive whiskey because I've got friends that really like that one. I liked it. It wasn't as near as bad as the rum. I mean, surely you could see that, but it definitely was not as good as the Scorch, and definitely not near as good as this. And this one's better than the Scorch, I think. This new PX Carriage is this one's up there, man. If I was going to give this a score, man, it'd be high. I mean, the Abana would give like a flat 4. This one, man, this one's like a 4 or 5 out of 5, I'd say. No joke. I mean, the only thing that could help it really, is maybe a longer age, more refinement. But when you got a great taste, great intensity, great combination, blend, balance, I mean, it's really hard to. Whew, this before it gets much better than the Scorch. Scorch is what he's saying. Yeah, no, I agree, man. This is better. I mean, the initial Scorch experience though was on caliber with this. It's just that after my first nose taste, finish with water experience, after the, maybe the when you got to the third or fourth, try, and it wasn't very long after I opened it, it really suffered from oxidation to me. It was not an abomination, no, not at all. But it wasn't as good as this. Not even close. I mean, I do think this is a step above. That's why I'm giving it a 4 or 5 out of 5. Have you had the 2021 Lag 12? I've heard good things about it, but I have my doubts. I thought that's what you meant by the new 12 sucking. Unless you're talking about the 2020, maybe. Come back to that. I agree that Arctic Black was a disappointment. Oh wow, okay. Someone else on knocking the black team. That's cool though, because I noticed a lot of people were not on board with that one. Were you multi alti? Did you have the committee release or just the limited release, or was it both? I'm just curious because I like the committee release. I did not like the limited that much at all. I'll agree on the limited being kind of but the committee release I thought was solid on the beginning, but I don't know. I know some of these guys are thinking I'm crazy for that one though. I just stand by my Ardbeg when I like it. I'll admit it. ECBP this year. Oh, the Elijah Craig barrel proof. Yeah, this year a bunch of other stuff. Did a Four Roses pick. Wow, because it was 10. I have way too much bourbon. I rarely drink it. Well, I tell you what, Dustin. If you ever, oh, Cohen's actually saying that. Never mind. I was gonna say I picked something up from you, but you're in California. That's gonna be tough. I haven't, but that blog, I loved it when he loves bourbon cans. I tend to run. Wow, you are funny. I always enjoy your reviews. He is funny. A bit extreme. He's extreme to the. He definitely does not. He just definitely does not have any issues letting you know what he thinks about the ones he doesn't like. That's for sure. Love the Long Row 18 bottle and got it. Unfortunately, yeah. Oh, the price had doubled since I got one. Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of too, man. I should have got one earlier. Screw Ardbeg committee releases right now. They haven't been worth across. At least the carriages are south of. Yeah, I agree with that. South of 100 though, I think my carriages was 110 somewhere on there, man. So south of 100, you got a lucky deal on that one because they're not that cheap in Maryland. Lagavulin 12 2017 is another stunner. Yeah, I agree there. I love the older 12s. I'm surprised to hear that too. Yeah, I was talking about Skyline earlier. 19 and 20 are passes. The 2018 is just brutally off profile. Mineral and sour. Okay. Yeah, when I think Lagavulin 12, you're gonna think I'm crazy probably. The first note I remember getting off that sucker was cotton candy. So that tells you that's a bit different. This was like 2015, 2016. Lagavulin 12. That was a good one I thought, but it has been a while. Now I sound old, but not yet. Not yet. I better do that now. Before I got a little bit in this glass. I'll pour a little bit. I've got a little something here with the Curatus. We're gonna go really small. I'm gonna put when you're blend. This is a good blending tip for you guys. When you're blending whiskeys that are peated or smoky, especially smokiness is the bigger factor than the peat level. If you have a smoky whiskey, definitely go smaller parts on that one versus your other stuff because the smoke is definitely going to carry whatever else you put with it. So definitely start out on a lower smoky level than anything else. It's something I've kind of picked up over the time of my own little blends. So I'm going to start with a little bit of the Curatus, but I'm going to put a little bit more to give it a solid blend with the Abelauer, just to see. This is probably crazy that I'm doing this, but since he asked, I'm going to try it and give it a good swisheroo. Nothing too crazy, but it's got some nice holding its rim around the Glencairn pretty well. It's not even running. The legs aren't even running. It's just stable. There's a little bit of release, but not much. That tells you definitely high ABV and definitely a medium, at least minimum mouth coat. I feel like I'll be thin. Wow. Okay, hold on. That's a good nose, actually. I'm surprised. I do get a little bit of both. Huh, that's interesting. I never would have thought of putting the two together. It's weird because like the Abanam has some more florals going on, and I still get it with all the other notes I was getting from the characters. So it's really interesting. I still get some of the chocolatey, savory notes in there. Still got some sweet peat going on. Smokiness is still there, but I still get some florals and some like clovey notes. That is interesting, I have to say. Not normally something I would blend, because we're basically blending two different sherries here. We got the PX from the Carriages, the Oloroso from the Abanam, but with similar ABVs, so that's not really anything crazy. You got peated versus not peated, but you do get a lot of benefits from the florals from the Abanam that you don't get in Isla whiskeys. Usually, unless you go for like a Brooklady, Port Charlotte, or something, you get some florals out of those guys. Claylas are more vegetal usually. None of the other ones strike me as being floral whiskeys. You have to go to like Port Ellen or Brora to get like some floral notes. I think in a lot of Isla whiskey. Huh. That is so wild. I like that nose actually. It's like it's a crazy combination of I get like ginger snaps on one hand, but also got like lavender on the other hand. It's weird, but it works. It's crazy. Bit of leather. I mean, it's a little bit all over the place, but it does make sense in a weird way. I don't know how to explain it. The profiles are like different, but similar enough, I guess, to somehow. It's so bizarre. Let's have a taste because this the nose is actually really good on those two together. Hopefully, the taste is as good. This will be interesting. Hold on, let me have a sippy here. Cleanse the palate a little bit. Gotta oxidize. I'm sorry, filtrate, hydrate. Gotta hydrate. That's the word I'm looking for. Gotta hydrate too on the side. Okay. Hmm. Huh, that is wild. It's different. Hmm. I'm not. Man, that's a bit all over. Let me see. Wow. Okay. It's so weird because I can pick the two. How it goes together is so different. Wow. It's good, but it's so different than what I was expecting. It's like it's weird. It almost gives it like a bit of more. It takes the notes that I gave you earlier, but it adds a lot of spiciness to it. So not only are you getting your barbecue, your smokiness, your chocolate notes, your ham, your bacon, brisket, some fruit like your strawberries, raspberries. Now you're getting like also some spice, like some the cinnamon and the Chinese allspice and the more of like a sandalwood cedar thing going on. I mean, it makes it more complex, which is strange because it was already complex. But I'm not sure. I'm trying to determine if it like enhances or if it's just different, or if it decreases the quality of the dram with the blend. Hmm. It's a great taste. It's good. It's just man, wow. Finish is not as drying as it was like the Abanad by itself is more of a drying thing with and you have the carriages with it, it's not a drying, so it's actually beneficial. Just something to think about. Sorry, man. I'm catching up here now. Going 8 there once and never again. Wow. Where was this? Now I gotta figure out where they're. Oh, Skyline Chili. He ate there. He ate once at Skyline, never again. I'm afraid to ask because I know he's definitely not going to hold back on what happened there. They have a nice new label, as does Talisker. Really nice new label. I'm afraid now. I'd rather spend money on Springbank than Ardbeg. Well, here's the deal. If you're talking about for the craft, yes, I would spend more for Springbank than Ardbeg. But how much more are we talking? That's where you have to be careful with Springbank. Those prices have been creeping up. If you said that in 2017, I would agree with you, like point blank, yes. Spend more money with Springbank than Ardbeg because the craft was worth it. But since the prices have been going so freaking far up for their cast strength 12 and their 10-year, even at a basic level, it's like it gets to the point where the return for the money is like, yeah, it's Springbank, 10 versus the Ardbeg 10. Which whiskey would I take? I definitely would much rather have the Springbank 10, to be honest with you. But is the Springbank 10 at $100 basically now versus the Ardbeg at 55, $60? I would go for the Ardbeg 10 in a second. So you got to think economics here as well on what you are charging the consumer. So that's just my deal. That's all you need to know to never have it again. Wow. Committee release. Wasn't a big fan. I stoked it for because I absolutely love the Long Run Red 11 Pinot Noir. Okay. Interesting. Okay. I can see. I hope when they start charging you, 150 for the Springbank 10, that you guys, step up and say, "Hey, yeah, even though I've never been disappointed by Springbank, and I'll agree they don't disappoint usually, but there is a line of worth to what that Springbank 10 is worth. $75, yes. 90 to $100, sorry, no, not even close. Sorry, let me go back here. I think this is going to be a great dram. Which one are you talking about there, Multi-Alti? Just curious. Eric Wade is crying because people badmouth his Ardbeg, but he always rates Port Charlotte higher. Poser Ardbeg fat boy. Wow. Damn, man, that's hardcore. But yeah, Eric Wade, I've known him for a long. I don't know him. I've never talked to him other than like an occasional comment, on a site kind of thing. But I've known of him for a long time, and yeah, I mean, I'm surprised because yeah, he's a Ardbeg fan like I am. But if he always rates Port Charlotte higher, that is kind of strange. I like my Port Charlotte, I'll agree, but there are some Ardbegs I've had that kick the shit out of Port Charlotte. That's for sure. But that's you got to go back a little ways, but they do exist. I love Ardbegs, so I have to be honest about them. Yeah, tough love. I'm the same way as Steven, really. Like, I'll tell you the ones that I did not care for. I did not care for the drum. I wasn't too up with the. I'd like to kill Dalton. I like the Ardbog. The Air Verdes was. I appreciated it more than some other people, but I could see where people had an issue with the Perpetuum for sure. I did not like the Perpetuum. I don't even like their basic tenure as much as some of their other whiskeys. So I'll definitely tell you the ones that I like versus the ones I don't like. But thankfully, I'd say 80% of the Ardbeg I've had I've actually do like, but there is the 20% that I've had, and I've had a lot of it that I'm not, too into. So last night I did a blend of the Laphroaig 10 Sherry with basic 10, about 50-50. I'm no blending expert, but it toned down that Sherry down and gave me what I was looking for. That's a perfectly good option. And next time, if you ever have a 10 cast strength, try the Laphroaig 10 cast strength 50-50 with that Sherry Oak and tell me what you think. 'Cause I think that would be pretty good. That's a guess. You don't like it. How are you, Tux? I'm doing pretty good, man. Samuel, how you doing? Good to see you. It's been a while, and hopefully you're having a good dram. What are you drinking tonight? Out of curiosity, hopefully you're having a sherry dram, if you're able to. For that blend, I think you need to put a sample out for 2 weeks to know what exactly really. That does have an effect on blending. Is how long do you let it sit married together? I think that does make a difference. To what extent, I'm not sure though. That's a good question for. I wish I knew a chemist to ask them. Like, does it make a huge difference? Like, if you blend something, since you're not using a barrel and you're not really aging it, just having it set, does that make a difference? But I'm just kind of curious on that one. Problem is they pump out stuff like McKellen does for all their fanboys now. It's just a money machine. That's when I get that, and that's what I'm afraid of Springbank doing because I've noticed their prices going up, 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 up. The craft is still great, but it's not been going up, 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 or anything's been like improving that I know of. So I'm trying to figure out how to justify this $30 increase on their drams. I'm not saying it's not worth it. I'm just saying that I've seen Springbank increase $20 to $30 on every dram I've seen, and we're not talking basic inflation here either. You know what I mean? I'm debating just not doing any bottles next year other than the 1 and 2 in Sailing Highland Springbank. So that's my view on Barvik, but Springbank is just way better. No, I'm not saying it's not way better, but is it worth the difference on spending? Like I said, Springbank 10, $100. Ardbeg 10, $55. Is the difference quality wise between the 10 on the Springbank and the Ardbeg? To me, it's not worth the difference. It might be better, yes, but is it worth $40 difference? No. And that goes for their higher end shit too, like the 18 Springbank versus the Ardbeg 19. I mean, I just don't see them being that huge of a difference quality to justify the difference on price. It's just crazy. Yeah, that's what I've been doing too. Is buying fewer and just trying to get something a little more specialty, I guess. UK prices for Springbank and Ardbeg are not that different. US is out of control with Springbank prices. Yeah, that's true. To me, it's all about what Glenelg is doing. I'm a Sherry head, and I used to love Glendronic, and I love Billy Walker's doing. Yeah, they're only getting better. No, I agree with you too, man. I am definitely more on backing Glenelg than Glendronic nowadays for that reason. The craft is so important. Their core range is still great. I love their really dusty stuff. There's some good, very special releases a while back. Yeah, the money though, you can go back over bottles that are open for 10. Yeah, that's true. 6 to 7 Springbank 10s in the last 2 years. So yeah, it's easily worth it. 18 is less than. No, 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 no. Okay, so you're saying you've bought the 6 or 7 Springbank 10s for $100. So you think it's worth? You think it's worth it compared to $55 for our Big Ten? That to me is that's the silly part. And the Springbank 18, yes, being less, but it's like how much? Barely. I mean, it's not by a whole lot because I know the Springbank 18 and 21 prices have been shooting through the roof lately. So you can't say it's much much different on that. The Laphroaig 10 Sherry and the carriage is 21 PX. That would be interesting to see the talking about those combined. Let me see. I'm sorry, I'm going back. Are you having both of those tonight, Samuel? The 10 Sherry and the carriages? What do you think about the two? Out of curiosity, what your take on it? Yeah, I mean it's money, but so is the Springbank 18. But I mean, let me look and see what there's. I don't even think a lot of people even carry the Springbank 18 anymore here because it's so damn expensive. But let me see if I can see. I know it's got to at least be close. Just that. Let's see, Springbank. They're selling the 15 for 150, dude. Come on, Jesus. 250 for the 18. That's not that much difference. 'Cause I can get the Ardbeg 19 for about the same price. It's 249.97 for the Springbank 18 in Maryland, and that's at a good price store that usually has great prices here. So you're crazy. No, the 19 is not 330. It's like 280 here, dude. The Ardbeg 19. No, you're crazy. Yeah, it was $75 here. And then I thought it was worth 75, the Springbank 10. But once you get above 80, $85, no, dude. No, no freaking way. There's no way. And I know the Springbank 25 is not worth $900. That's what they're selling it for right now. The Springbank 25 is 89, I'm sorry, 899.97. That is nuts. That is bullshit. I can't believe what I'm seeing. That's crazy. But yeah, the 18 even for 250, that's way too high, dude. I'm sorry, but you might say it's MSRP, dude, but I've never seen it that high. When it first released here, it was 3, and it's already gone down to 280 here. So, and that's for batch one. So I don't know. Maybe I guess Maryland prices are just so freaking weird that it's just to me Springbank is way too overpriced here. And if you think $900 is worth the 25, you're crazy. I'm sorry. Um, the 21 PX is sweet. 10, 12 is sherry is dry. Both really good whiskey, really tasty. That's true. That sherry, that dried 10 is very savory. There's no sweetness at all. I was hoping for a little more sweetness in that 10-year-old sherry, to be honest with you. I just wasn't. Yeah, 200 is a little more reasonable, but I got it for 280, man. No, this is first release, dude. You're so full of it, dude. It's running out your nose. Yeah, hot take. Neither the 18 or the RB19 are worth those prices. I agree with Steven on that one. Have a great one, man. Springbank for me is hit or miss. The Springbanks are really go for Longwear Reds. Yeah. Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, that's definitely a 150 $200 whiskey. Anyone paying a $900 for a Yamazaki 18 is on smack. They need to be shot. That's just that's just crazy. I mean, you could get a Hibiki 21 for that, can't you? I mean, I've had the Hibiki 21, and I know I didn't spend no freaking anywhere near that kind of money for it. Even the freaking Ichibu, some of their stuff, man. I mean, come on. For what it's worth, my last RB19 and last RB 18 were both around 120. You gotta send me where you're shopping, dude, because there's no freaking way I've ever seen either one of those at anywhere near those prices. So, Telex at Outlook.com. That's all I can say. Telex at Outlook.com. If you can find any one of those for 120, dude, you gotta send me your supplier because I'm tapping my arm for that. That's crazy. Either one, I love both of them. I like the 18 and the 19 Ardbeg and Springbank. So, oh, $800 each for a 25. I mean, hell, you can get the Bunnahabhain 25 for 600. That's $200 less, and it's probably just as damn good. Uh, I'm CK. You got the 70 milliliter shit too. That's horrible. You told on yourself on that one. 750 milliliter, you get 750 milliliter Bunnahabhain 25 for $500 to $600, man. It is remotely good. Are you crazy? Ah, how about the Highland Park 25? You can get that shit for fucking $700, dude. And it's a hundred. It's actually $200 now, cheaper than a damn Springbank 25. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's crazy. That's crazy money, man. Crazy money. Insane. But that's a whole nother thing. And for you newer guys that are catching the stream after the fact, Springbank is great whiskey. I'm not shunning it. I think it's great. I buy it a lot. I've had everything from the 10, 12 Burgundy, 13 green, 15 green, freaking 14 Portwood, Bourbon Wood, sorry. God, I mean, so many freaking drams. 19 Port Cask matured is one of my favorite whiskeys they've ever done. I love the Springbank 19, but man, and I was lucky. I mean, $300 is a lot for a whiskey, and I got that one early. Thank God, because I hate to know what that fucking shit's going on for now. Probably $700, no joke. It's just, I mean, $300 for the 19 Port Cask when it released in 2015 or 16, whenever it was. That was fine, but man, nowadays, there's no freaking way I would spend anywhere near that kind of money on that. No, don't give me that shit, Gary. We have similar political beliefs, and you know that's bullshit. They can't blame that shit on. I mean, I agree. There's inflation; it's out the ass, but this is not the reason for Springbank's prices. They're just some of those guys are just getting greedy because it's $200 cheaper. That's why. $200 cheaper. You can't tell me. I mean, the craft is good, but the craft is not worth $200. I mean, for the same fucking year, it's just crazy. Once you reach the $400 value, the efficacy whiskey has diminishing. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Once you get to $400 or $500, man, that's it. That's where I draw the line. It's you guys spending thousands of dollars on some of these things are just insane. Yeah, tariff schmariff, man. That whole tariff bullshit was just that's another thing that gets me all riled up. Anyway, but yeah, I think I like the blend. I'm not sure if I like it better versus one or the other, but it is really good though, man. That's not a bad idea. I definitely taste the marriage of the two. Oh, I do like the florals that you get on the nose too, on the Ebonol with the also from that. It's actually worth a look if you. I mean, definitely not saying blend a whole lot, but if you already have an open bottle of the Kyrgyz PX, if you already have a bottle of the Abana, it's definitely worth a little try. I definitely would go 20% Kyrgyz, maybe 80 on the Abana. Hmm. Maybe 70-30. 70-30 would be more safe. 30% Kyrgyz because the smoke. 70% Abana, preferably, of course, a younger cask if you can get it, earlier batch, whatever. I mean, but yeah, I mean, I thought it was pretty tasty. I'm not gonna knock it, knock it. Sorry, let me go back up here. I got till I ruffled some feathers. I pay for the taste of whiskey, not the meaningless age statement as well, semi-meaningless. No, I understand that you're not. I'm not saying pay for any age statements, or anything in particular. I mean, you will have to pay for ABV. That's just the nature of the way the taxes work. So you will have to pay for that. But definitely, I'm not saying pay for just a certain age statement or anything like that. I'm just saying if you are going to pay above beyond what it's worth, you better really damn like it, because I just think Springbank has got to the point where they have went above their value level on their pricing. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying it's not good. I'm not saying that that people shouldn't do it per se. I'm just saying if you're going to shell out that kind of money for anything, man, I mean that's just they're just getting to the point where it's not worth what they're charging for it. Yeah, Springbank in the UK is reasonable, but the Americans buy it all the day it drops. Yeah, because their prices here are so fucking horrible. That's the problem. If they had better prices here, we wouldn't buy it in the UK. That's the catch. Only whiskey out actually warrants a $600 price tag, but only at 48.1. Yeah, yeah. If it's not 48.1 at minimum, I agree, man. It's just crazy. It's like Steven agreed with. Yeah, and that's the reason why is the prices are so fucking ridiculous here. Well, for some stupid reason, they have to import Springbank to the Cali and then ship it. But yeah, that's where I have an issue. We should have a port here in Maryland. I mean, for God's sakes, Maryland's got the port of Baltimore. What else do you fucking want? Let's just ship it further away place and then ship it across country. Killing, yeah, it's just crazy. I like that 25 to do. Yeah, I was lucky enough to have an exclusive malt 25-year that was cast strength, but a low ABV for cast strength at 48%, 49, somewhere on there. It was really, really good. It was not dumpy, but it was actually pretty good quality for $250 too. Is all it was. It wasn't expensive either, comparatively to all the other bullshit prices that you see in Highland Park. Highland Park's another one that's just as bad as Springbank when it comes to overpricing. And McKellen's the worst, but Springbank is second, and I'd say Highland Park's third when it comes to overpricing in whiskey. Just the way it is. I mean, I'm just telling you how for value for what you're getting, it's just crazy. Same thing happened to Kilkerran 90 and then 12. Yeah. $90 for the Kilkerran 12. That's crazy. $60 here. It used to be. Let me see what they're going for right now. Good question. Kilkerran in Maryland. Heavily peated is 95. The 12 here is 85. So it's actually cheaper here, which is good. That's one of the rare things I see cheaper in Maryland versus California, it looks like. But not by much. $5 is not that much. Bunch of the top tier price stuff on the shelf. Yes, probably bought during tariffs. Yeah, fucking tariffs. Fuck no, dude. It had to taste like fucking God's tears to be worth $800-900. I'm telling you, it's just there's no way. Yeah, I'd love to try an older 25. That's for damn sure. But unless it's unless it's God's tears, 9 8 $1,000 practically. I'm sorry, but that's just insane. UK people are pissed that all speaking cans get involved. I'm sure they are, but that's the reason is because the pricing here in America is so fucking insane. Moves from shelves quick. Best just to get it Glen Scotia for a lot less. That's true. Glen Scotia is just as quality crafted almost. I mean, not as good as Springbank, but for what you're getting, and it's likewise a Campbelltown bottling. Yeah, you got really lucky for 400. Dude, you'll never see 400 for a HP 25 ever, 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 ever. It's 600 minimum right now. 600 minimum. That'd be the shape of the 25 pounds in the area. Oh, it's fantastic whiskey. That's cool. But still, you're never gonna see, dude. 400. It's minimum 6 to 7. I think 750 is last price. Let's see what I can actually tell you right now. The Highland Park 25 in Maryland is going for 750, dude. 7 fucking 50. That is crazy. It's asinine nonsense to be that expensive. Karen 12 dropped back to 80. Yeah. You would love his tears or her tears or its tears or however you think of it, man. You know you would. So I mean in a good way, not like I'm not wanting God to cry. You know what I'm trying to say, though. Come on. So you don't want to hear that I paid $500 a month? No, I don't. I don't want to know. He gets the best whiskey prices I've ever heard of in my entire life. We have the new batch of 12 here, and it's 90 everywhere. Wow. Yeah. Yeah, the problem is getting shipments to Maryland is getting harder and harder and harder and harder to do. I used to have really good spaces that I could get from pretty easily, including whiskey base. They even stopped shipping to America. I don't know what's going on, but it needs to stop, whatever it is. Wow. If you still see the $62 for the Kilkerran 12, you need to buy that shit up like hotcakes, dude. That's really cheap. Yeah, it's just getting the shipments is the tough part. Yeah, the Kilkerran heavily peated here is definitely on the cheaper side. Kilkerran heavily peated 95, so yeah, it's comparable. The whiskey world, dude. Yeah, I know that you had to be getting something really special from those guys to get something, you know. But I know what you mean. I've still got plenty of delicious options to drink. Yeah, 12 cast strength peated single first fill is really good. They put them on a special release fairly regular. That sounds excellent. I have not tried that one, but if I can imagine a Campbelltown malt that's peated first fill bourbon cast 12 year, that sounds really, 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 really good. I have to say. Well, I'm going to pour myself one last little dram here. I guess I'll close out with. Let's go back, just out of curiosity. Let's go back to this Farkless. Cleanse the palate a little bit with a little water. We've had a lot of peat, a lot of sherry. But just to see, the ABV is the thing that kills this beast. That's the only thing that is really tough with dealing with the low ABV whiskeys is once you've, had the option of doing a 50, 55, even almost 60%, then you come back to a 43, man, it's tough. Give me 1 second, guys. Been dealing with no sinus issues until recently. I've been having a little bit of an issue, but I can still do everything. But it's just kind of been a fight late tonight. There we go. Yeah, thankfully the sulfuric notes are not on this batch. I got lucky with this particular bottle. I'm not sure if there's a way. It's one thing I haven't got into with you guys a lot of is the scans, but you can, if you know what you're doing, get out your trusty flashlight, you can typically find out a lot from a bottle. This one, I believe, is from October 19th, 2020. I'm not sure their bottling codes, but that's my guess. I got lucky on this one. Doesn't have any of the sulfuric stuff that I didn't like from the other two bottles that I tried. But it's definitely yeah. I mean, the intensity is not near as the higher ABV, of course, but taste is really good. Finish is good. It's just, man, finish is really good, but it's really tough when you're used to dealing with a higher ABV whiskey and coming back. But I'm still happy with taking the chance. But man, did I get lucky because I have had some really heavily sulfuric stuff. It's a tough one. Uh-oh, missed something here. Oh. Yeah, the Farkless 25. That's the thing, man. I've had good versions and bad versions of it. I've had a I know I've had at least two good versions of it, and I've had at least two bad versions of it. I'm not sure why that is, but I've had some decent like options, different variations, batches of it, and I've had good and bad with it. It's weird, but I'm definitely not saying buy a bottle, that's for sure, but it's definitely a crapshoot. That would be nice. Most I take it here prefer peat. Personally, I go for share mature whiskeys. I actually prefer either a sherried whiskey by itself or a peated and sherried. I do like peated whiskeys on their own if it's like Octomore type level. It has to be like heavily peated. But just a basic peated whiskey like a Lagavulin 8 or a Bunnahabhain Choichek, the first edition, they don't do much for me. That's just me. But no, definitely preferred either Oloroso or PX or Fino or some sherry maturation if I can get it. Peated preferably as well, but I do like the basic, just straightforward cherry matured ones too. Wow. After 2 years open, I'm kind of liking the Farkless 25 enough to not think it's a bottle of water now. Go home, you're drunk. Oh, wow. Foursquare. Yeah, we took this. I remember Malt and I did the Foursquare not too long ago. It was pretty good. Mineral water. You guys are insane. You, that's the funny thing. You'll spend like $800 on a whiskey, but you won't go 225 on a whiskey. It's amazing to me the difference with the the quality is not. I mean, it's definitely different, but it's not like that value of difference. That's the crazy thing. Time to move on to the glorious 24.155 to a 107.4. Are you doing a SMWS bottle? Yeah, I had a feeling when you said 24, I'm like, I know what that is. 8-year PX SMWS sticky sweet clean mouthfeel. That sounds really good, man. I do like me some SMWS bottles. I might have to get my membership back. I used to belong with those guys and do some bottles. They've had some really great bottles, but I got to be more careful on the distilleries I pick from. I think is the issue with those guys. Not really an issue, but something to look out for. Hey, y'all, I saw my first 70 milliliter bottle in New York. That's crazy. Yeah. Cigar. Ooh, I wish I had one, man. I need one like now. I haven't had a cigar in ages. Oh, that sounds so good. I could go for a nice stoke. Seeing it shipping and delivery terms. Get back to you on the exactly which sites. Yeah. Yeah, I think I might. I think yeah. I'm not gonna ever probably get this again because of the risk. Two versus two, 2 out of 4 bottles being good for that kind of when you get to above $200, it's just not worth the gamble. But I'm glad I finally got a Destroy bottle to put up there. I recently got the Bladnock Talia 25, which is a port. Very well done. Not drinking it tonight, but we'll talk about that one later. Did pick that one up recently with that Glenfarclas 25, but yeah, I'm kind of feeling very like I completed the realm of the distillery bottles, and we'll be getting into some independent bottles here next shows. We'll be doing a lot of independents. So if you know of any independent bottlings that you would like me to take a look at, if you see a really good deal, I'd really appreciate it if you send an email to telex at outlook.com. That's TELEX at outlook.com. Let me know if you see if you see something that you think I should give it a try. I usually prefer Adelphi bottles. They're my favorite independent bottling right now, I'd say. I also have liked a lot of the exclusive malts and the. I've had some good things with Alexander Murray to an extent. They're kind of like 50-50. Gordon McPhail, kind of same thing. Caden Heads would be a good one to try. Um, Single Cast Nation, of course. Anything that you've had a good feel with independent wise, let me definitely send me some information because I would definitely like to get on there. I'm finding I don't like much whiskey in the 150 to $300 range these days outside of independence at cast strength. It's a no go dead zone outside of 2 to 3 bottles. Yeah, it is. That's what Steven was kind of saying is there's this weird like realm of money. Like you can spend, if you're lucky, you can find sometimes up to 150 a really good bottle, but unless you spend a lot more than 300, it's really hard to find a good quality whiskey that's worth that kind of price. So, yeah, any independent information that you guys see, let me know via that email address if you don't mind. I'll definitely will be picking it up as much as soon as I can. Any distillery at this point, I don't care who it is, what it is, as long as it's good. Preferably a high age if you can find it. Preferably a high ABV if you can find it. Uh, that's the only thing that I really ask for. It could be anything: ex bourbon, ex sherry, both peated, not peated. You know, if I'm doing peat, I do prefer the Isle of Peat probably more than most. Campbelltown, I'm down with definitely as well. And there have been some Benriach peats that I like, some Benromic peats that I like. Um, Even Edgerdour Balkan stuff is outstanding. It's great. So anything that's peated that's well done, I definitely would. Wow, man, that's some crazy money there. Woo. Yeah, rum is a tough one to do with whiskey. Oh yeah, I'm fine with buying from Europe as long as they ship to Maryland or have a way for me to get it. I am completely down with that, man. First fill sherry cast strength signatory vintage sounds great to me, man. Where do I sign? I'm ready to sign right now. That would be awesome. Mm. Yeah, I mean, it's timid. The Glenfarclas 25 in relation when you get to the higher ABVs, it is timid. But since this one does not have the sulfur all over the place, I can really get the notes that I want to get off this one. So this to me is actually a good buy. But man, if I had one of those sulfuric bottles, I would be pissed. Like that Deanston 20 Oloroso that I had before, not nearly as good. So it definitely makes a huge difference on these releases, I have to say. I'm not sure if some of it could be cork taint too. Cork taint does happen, and I'm wondering if some of that could be part. of the issue with the Glenfarclas 25 or other drams that we've had where you get a good one, you get a bad one, you get a good one, you get a bad one, get a bad one, you get a good one, that kind of thing. So I'm not sure, but it's amazing the uh, the differences in that. Skill Malts of Scotland director is releasing a 22-year-old first. Wow, that sounds really good. Director Special 22. First filler also in the States, but it's $800. Ooh, well, I could do it, but I have to do it like next month or so. I could definitely do it. I'm not afraid of doing up to like 1,500, but I'm kind of really particular about the ones that I do. So if you guys say, hey, this is worth it, worth it, worth it, I will bounce on it. Take a chance, I mean, on it. But if if it's if you guys are multiple guys like you and Dustin and some of the other ones, Carrie K, if you're all like then I might skip. But Laphroaig, no, that's fine. I like Laphroaig. Hey, why be sorry? A 22 first Oloroso that's Laphroaig. Why be sorry? Oh, my words have come back to haunt me. Well, I mean, this is the deal. This is the way I look at it. No, any typically distillery bottle that someone's trying to get $800 for a regular Springbank 25, no, I don't want to go there. But if you guys are like, okay, this is like a Ben Nevis 30 something year that's got first fill Oloroso and first fill PX and all these bells and whistles, then I'd be more inclined to be like, okay, I can see why, but come on, man. Yeah, I mean, this is something. Director Special is special, so that's one that's a little different. It's not your run of the mill 25-year basic core distillery bottle. You know what I mean? I'm gonna get Dustin a bottle of the Jura 20 something. I'm gonna get him a 25-year-old Jura. That'd be hilarious. Oh my god. Jamaican and Haitian is very different than Barbados from. That's for sure, man. Jamaicans definitely. They got some funky notes in their rum, man. It's crazy. I like it, but it's funky. Yeah, I've connected to the rum yet. I'm going outside of whiskey. I prefer Armagnac and the tequila or a sherry. Yeah. You know what I'm saying, man. Come on. I know it's well crafted. I'm not saying it's not, but it's not a special 200 bottle yield release. That's the ones I deem more special. Like a 200 run, 300 run, somewhere around there. That's the one I'm talking about. And I've had some Springbank 300 bottle runs like that Portwood the Port Cast Matured 19. That is my favorite Springbank bottle I've ever had. I don't think anything will top that. 50 it was some crazy ABV too. It was like 58.9 or some shit. It's insane. It was so good. Just a minute of my time I see shit packet. You get Jesus' blood. Oh man, let's not get too sacrilegious here. Come on, guys. Start the single month and it is then right. Wow, all over the place on that one. Mezcal, yeah. That's one thing I've yet to try. I think I have a little bit of mezcal somewhere. I might do that with malt. He sent me some mezcal. I got to try with him at some point. But that will be down the road a little bit. Yeah, exploring is half the fun. I've seen it for sure. I know the fresh sherry Springbank you're talking, but this port one is before your fresh sherry because I've seen. It's funny because after having that port 19, I thought I did see a fresh sherry 19 release about a year or two afterward, and I thought that's really tempting. It was like 280, 290 at the time, and I was like, that's not a bad price for a Springbank well crafted 19-ish, whatever year, but I should have bought it because I'm sure the secondary market now is insane for that bottle, but it was literally like 270, 280. How much is it going for now? I'm afraid to even ask. It's probably insane. I have a port cast too. Yeah, that 19-year man is insanely good. It's 320 bottles, I think, in that release. Only 320, but man, I was lucky to find one of them for 280. I mean, that's a steal comparatively. We're talking about 25-year they want to charge $900 for. Night and day difference. Crazy. Yeah. Single malts for the win. Mm. Not kosher. Oh my goodness. 120 total bottles. That's a small yield. I'll give you that. But that port cast, dude, that port cast, it is hard to do a port cast maturation very well in Scotch. That's the best port cast next to the 2013 port Carriages by Laphroaig, man. Those are the best two port cast whiskeys I've ever had, period. And don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody because I'm sure I'm going to hear about it. But the Springbank 19 port cast was probably better than the Carriages Portwood 2013, but barely. And the reason being, the only reason I would give the 19 port cast maturation a notch above it is it had this really nice herbal notes that you don't get from whiskey very much. It had like a basil and like a rosemary thyme thing. It's crazy. A lot of herbal notes going on with that whiskey that I remember. It reminded me a lot of the Tomatin Decades, which has a lot of old whiskey in it, and it had this really nice like basil meats, fruit meats, smoke, some like dare I say sherry kind of notes. I mean, it was all over the. It was really good, all over the place, but really good. Pouring one last gram of something nice. Same here, man. Good dinner to you there, Gary. Thanks for coming by. I really appreciate it. To be fair, I paid $1,000 for the Springbank 19 first share. $1,000? What? Okay, hold on. You just said that you would pay $1,000 for a 19-year-old whiskey, dude. I mean, I know the craft is there. I know it's supreme. I know it's top notch. But what the hell? That's a lot of money, dude. I mean, I'm not asking, but that's where I place the value. Oh my god. You're killing me, dude. You're killing me. Five maybe, 500, 600, seven tops, $1,000 though. Come, you must. I mean, if anyone needs to be a Springbank ambassador, Dustin's the guy for you, man. That guy will stand up to. He'll stand with Springbank no matter what the fuck happens. They could be selling shit like urine and stuff in a bag, and he still fucking be like, "That shit's the best stuff ever." Oh, wow, that's saying something, man. The 19 fresh sherry at $1,000. Wow. Yeah, I think you did because I saw it for 280 and I didn't buy it. I should have bought that shit up in a heartbeat. I didn't realize the yield was that low. I thought the yield was like 350, 320. I didn't know it was like 100 bottles. Man, that fucking sucks because we'll never see that shit again unless we want to spend $1,000 for it, which I definitely do not want to ever think about spending $1,000 for 19-year-old whiskey. That shit better be 30, 40 years for that kind of money, dude. I'm sorry, but damn, that's crazy. Mm. Ugh, that's crazy, man. Refilled bourbon? I'm not sure. Is that Springbank you're talking about? Yeah. That pains me to hear, man. Back to pricing whiskey on age and not flavor. Oh, you're killing me, man. I mean, there has to be some sort of reason, though. I mean, yes, taste definitely justifies a price point. Age definitely does bring up a price point. Craft definitely brings up a price point. Those there's several factors, but if it's 19 years and well crafted, I would think $500 to $600 would be reasonable for that dram. I'm sorry, and I know that when it was released, it was around 280 to $300. The worth at the high end for that should be after market $500 to $600. Period. $1,000, dude. I don't know where the hell people are coming up with that number, but that's just crazy, dude. That shit's long gone, and I would never ever buy that whiskey again. No, that's when you get to, I know there is a specialty with the casks, and that's when you get into the weeds. And that's why I'm surprised that you guys didn't see that shit with the releases like the Black. It had some special Pinot Noir casks that were like, I thought were like out there, but you guys did not see the any niceness to the cast they were using with that. But I don't know. I take a Billy Walker Glendronic at Rizzo Place over any $1,000 spring pink. He's got a point there, but no, I wouldn't spend $1,000 on any Glendronic or anything. $1,000, dude. I would only spend that kind of money on like a Brora, which wouldn't give me. I know it wouldn't even get me to that point, or a Rose Bank, which wouldn't give me to that point. Maybe a Rose Bank would get me a Rose Bank. It would not give me a Brewer or a Port Ellen, but that's the only time I'd ever spend that kind of money on a dram or really really specialized Macallan like one-off release that had the best fucking sherry cast that you ever could imagine. Maybe that, but I mean, for Springbank to be worth $1,000, man, it had to be like a 30-year-old special sherried release or something. I don't know. The Black. Yeah. You got me back on the Black, man. I only want Billy Walker stuff if he had zero to do with whiskey. Wow. You're not a Billy Walker fan. It's interesting. Why not? He didn't do anything bad to the whiskey. He's actually well regarded when it comes to whiskey making. So that's kind of, especially when you compare it to Rachel Berry. I mean, come on, dude. We'll see who's drunk. After that statement, dude. I, I I'm gonna end it with that. Thanks, guys, for coming because that was that was enough for me to be like, wow. I think there's other people that are drunk in here because that's just weird. But we'll cut it off now. I appreciate you guys stopping by. It's been fun as usual. Next week, I think if Eric's up for it, we'll do the Benromic whiskey 3-prong extravaganza. I know we have a few that we need to do. We also have a couple one-offs, some Amaret, some Mezcal, and some other things that we'll be looking at. So we'll see down the road on that one. Have a 25-year Springer first fill sherry. I pay 1,000 for, maybe the best Springer I've had. Okay, that it better be freaking high ABV for that kind of price, dude. 19 is highly regarded. It's only about I regret not buying on site when I regret it. Regained sanity. It was gone. Yeah, that port cast mature was really good. Nobody wants anything Billy had to do with distilling. They want him to pick cast and blend. So you hate him as a distiller, but you like him as a blender and cast picker. Okay, interesting. I've never heard anything negative about him until now, so this is interesting. Anybody else have any issues with Billy Walker's distillation process? I'm just curious on that. Leave me comments and if you don't mind, thumbs up, thumbs down. I don't care either way. Do what you want to do, and hopefully you guys have had fun. We've done a lot of sherried whiskeys. You guys have talked about a lot of different ones. I've had a lot of fun with it, and yeah, I'm gonna have to look into that because I thought he was a pretty good master distiller, but I don't know. I don't know all the nuances for a lot of this stuff. All the Glenjoni you've seen released now are 12s or well, Not the non-chill filtrated slash not that stuff is Rachel Berry. So I'm not sure which one you're saying released now, but if you're talking about the stuff that's chill filtrated, that is all about Miss Berry. So I don't know. We'll have to discuss that one at the next the next go around. I'm not sure what the next show will be after. I mean, I know I want to do the Bedromic show with Eric Maltmuser and some other ones we got. After that, though, as far as like comparisons and shootouts and stuff, it'll be fun to take a look at some different things. So if you guys have any ideas for chill filtering, is well, that's a big part of it, dude. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you can say what you want about the I guess the taste, but the craft took a definite nosedive with that. But that's we'll cross that bridge later on. But the the deal for the next show, minus Eric being available, then we can do comparisons, shootouts, whatever you guys want to do. So if you have a subject, definitely send it to me, telex at outlook.com. That's Telex at outlook.com. And I'd be happy to try to work something out. If someone wants to come on a show and talk about some drams, I'm definitely you know cool with that too. So let me know, and appreciate you guys coming by. I definitely would give a 4 out of 5 on the Abaddon. Cask variation, is an issue, but the new Laphroaig carriages, 4.5 out of 5. Very well done. A lot better than at Port Wine, even night and day difference. And be really wary on any of the Glenfarclas 25 releases. Great price at 225, 200 if you can find it. Great price, but it is kind of a toss up with the batch variation. I've had too good, too bad. So but yeah, I agree with Cohen. I would definitely take Benevis over both Glendronic or Glenelg if you can get it. But the problem is you can't find Benevis because of the Japanese. Nika bought the distillery, and I'm not sure what's going on, but they're not releasing a lot of new whiskey that I can see from the distillery, which is really sad. So we'll see what happens later. Hopefully they'll pick up. Hopefully a lot of people write to them and say, "Hey, I'd love to see a Benevis 15, 18, 21, 25. Please give me a high ABV, good distillery bottle release. Let's see it." He has changed the fermentation time at Connecticut to 160 hours, almost double the other distilleries. Interesting how different that is. If you want Benevis, get Nika from the barrel. Yeah, that's the thing. They've bought everything. So yeah, if you want it nowadays, you almost have to get it from Nika from the barrel. To each their own. Yeah. I appreciate you coming by, and let me know what you think in the comments when you get a chance. And I will see you guys next Tuesday. Tasty Tuesday, always fun. And thanks for coming.